The following is a presentation of the St. Louis Chess Club.
Hello, and welcome to round 7 of the Summer Chess Classic. As always, my name is Caleb Denby, and I'm joined once again by Grandmaster Yasser Seirawan.
Caleb, the pleasure is always to be with you.
Yeah, happy Monday. It's a new week,
Monday.
But it's the same Summer Chess Classic.
And what a classic we've had. We've been experiencing some great fighting chess. Really been enjoying the games in both groups. But let's talk about the standings.
Yeah, let's see where we stand after 2/3 of the tournament has passed.
Right.
In the A group, things are a little bit clearer than before. Andrew Hong is the man who has pulled away. He sits on 4.5 out of 6 points, a clear point ahead of second place. And it will be up to Ray Robson, Awonder Liang, and Christopher Yoo to see if they're going to be able to chase him down.
An impressive victory yesterday by Andrew, the only one to win in that round. How about in the B group?
Over in Group B, Andy Woodward, despite one slip up in the event, still
Right.
finds himself tied for first. He is joined by Steven Zierk and Harshit Raja in that tie for first place.
Right.
And Andy and Harshit are in an interesting game today. Begim Tokhirjonova still in the running, just a half point back. Despite a rough round 6, we've seen her bounce back before. Maybe she'll do it again in these last few rounds.
Quick shout out to Akshat for a sparkling tactical victory in his victory in round 6.
Yeah,
Tell us about the format.
Huge fighting game from
Yes,
Akshat.
it was wonderful.
In this Summer Chess Classic, we have two 10-player round robins. That's the A group and the B group that we spoke of. In both groups, the players get 120 minutes for the entire game with a 30-second increment for move 1. There are no draw offers permitted and no extra time at move 40. What you see is what you get on the clock.
And we're coming towards the end of the tournament. Tell us about the remaining schedule, Caleb.
Just a few days left, and make sure you pay attention to that last round. Of course, the games start at 1:30 p.m. You can view them at uschesschamps.com every day. Except for round 9, when the games will be live at 11:30 a.m., 2 hours early, and our show will come on 2 hours early at 2 o'clock. That's on Wednesday, June 5th.
Wonderful, and lay the table for our viewers. Tell them what they can expect in terms of the pairings for this round 7. Let's start with the A group.
Yeah, let's check out the pairings. But before then, if you want to get involved with the show,
social media,
you
yes.
can, as always, join us at uschesschamps.com using the hashtag Summer Chess Classic. But in the A group, we have Mikhail Antipov playing Awonder Liang, Nikolas Theodorou playing Grigoriy Oparin, Temur Kuybokarov playing Christopher Yoo, Ray Robson playing Benjamin Bach. And of course, our key matchup is going to be the one involving our leader, Andrew Hong. His fate is in his own hands. If he manages to keep everything together, score a couple points in these last few rounds, he will be our champion.
Just looking at the line score there, interesting bookends by Andrew Hong, a pair of victories. Compared to Ante, who, well, he's tried to mix it up. He's unsuccessfully, as all the games have been drawn.
Interesting games, but at the end of the day, he's been too solid.
Too solid.
6 draws.
Let's jump into that game, as it's going to be our marquee matchup of our tournament leader. This one had a peculiar twist, and one, you know, I'm an old dog. I'm not easily surprised. Knight takes e4, the open Spanish. This is about as old as it gets. This is truly, truly ancient. D2, D4 has been the go-to move for hundreds of years.
I was going to say that, a little while.
Rook E1, trying to catch Andrew a little bit by surprise, like, okay, if you play D5 now, oops, D3, the knight has to go, knight takes E5. The problem with Rook E1, and this has been known for a long time, the knight drops back with a tempo. Now, what you have here is a kind of a Berlin, but you don't have the other normal goodies that you might have in a Berlin, like a kingside majority.
Yeah.
Here you have the double pawns, but as we're about to see, with this very nicely timed C5, Andrew is in time to liquidate his weakness, and he got in a position which we're about to have on the board. Rook d1. I'm anticipating the simple queen c8. Just okay, you attack me, I move.
Seems like it makes the most sense.
Right, and now we can look at knight d7, and at first blush, oh, I'm doing something of wonder and glory, but not really. This comes with the tempo.
Yeah.
Captures. I capture. Like, what else am I supposed to do?
Take the rook.
Take the rook.
Take the knight.
I capture. What else am I supposed to do?
And
And at the end of the day, I can probably capture. Oh, well, maybe this is the way that white wants to go. Although,
takes just, yeah. So bishop f2 wins a pawn, but loses a crucial tempo, because then rook
Right.
d7 will come in.
exactly. Probably that's still good
Yeah.
enough for a draw, by the way. Maybe I should just go ahead and go down this line, because,
Yeah,
but boy, this is like a vacuum
there's
cleaner
already bishop
variation.
f3. Yeah, like
You know,
if
like-
this is the way we're headed,
You know.
the game won't last too long, I think.
That is a variation where everything gets cleanly swept across the board. Well, we'll
And,
see after
yeah,
queen
the thing
c8.
is, if you don't play knight d7, I don't know what our point is here.
I mean, I've got bishop takes f3 on tap. I've got c7, c5, which is usually a kind of a siren that everything's okay. And lastly, and pretty importantly, you should be careful. Knight f4,
Yeah.
knight to d5, and I've got two bishops, and good things can happen. Tell us about the pairings for the B group.
Of course. Well, while they battle it out in the A group, the B group is also underway. Begim Tokhirjonova will look to
Right the
hunt,
ship.
yeah, right the ship, hunt down the leaders against Josiah Stearman.
Right.
Akshat Chandra, coming off of his nice win, is playing Brewington Hardaway. Alice Lee takes on Melik, two players that have been struggling a little bit, but we'll see how that game shakes
I
out.
like the matchup. Alice the youngest versus Melik Set the oldest, the senior champion.
champ,
Come on,
Melik.
Melik, you can do it.
Steven Zierk, one of our leaders, takes on Irina Krush. And our other two leaders are our key matchup for the day. Andy Woodward, Grandmaster-elect, takes on Grandmaster in full, Raja Harshit. And let's see that position here.
Let's jump to it. I like what Andy did in the opening. This was a Catalan, one of the oldest lines of a Catalan. I've played this numerous times on both sides.
Sure.
And it was actually from the Garry Kasparov versus Deep Blue match. And Michael Tal also won a very famous game in this line with knight a3, knight takes c4. And the line goes bishop c5, and bishop c5 was like the main move from the Deep Blue match, from the Michael Tal match, and many others before it. What I tried to do with black in this position, it was great fun.
Okay.
It was great fun. Was before they were playing knight a5, they were playing queen a4.
Right.
Queen a4 was the go-to move. What you were trying to do as white, you were trying to take this pawn, followed by taking this pawn, and at the end of the day, you simply said, modestly speaking, my bishop on g2 is very well placed. Your bishop on c8 isn't. Modest,
Certainly.
but there you go. So I would take the pawn, and then they would take my pawn back. I would take the knight. They would attack my queen. No, I beg your pardon. They would take my knight. I would take. I would.
Bishop d7.
They would attack my queen. I would take the rook. They would take
this
my
one.
queen, and I would take the bishop. So I've got rook, light squared bishop, and a pawn for the queen. And very, very importantly, I'm controlling this g2 diagonal.
Yeah.
What's a decent move? Give me
Let's say knight c3.
Excellent. And I would play h5. And the
All
players
right.
who were in the black, who were on the white side, were a little bit annoyed, shall I say, because it's sort of like, hey man, you know, like, why are you attacking me? You know, you can't do this.
What's all this about?
And because if you see that my rook wants to come to h1, you might be tempted, I'm not saying it's good, I'm not saying it's bad, to stop me. And then you start, like, why are you attacking me? You know, like, would you leave me alone?
It's
know,
the Catalan.
this isn't supposed to happen. So I used to have a lot of fun with this. You can look up my games if you can find them. Lots of luck on that. Bishop e7's okay, but I always thought with that move, white gets a little bit of an edge. Let's see how he has done it. And you can see immediately that, first of all, I'm going to win my pawn back.
Yeah.
But then again, at the end of the day, I still have, my bishops. There is a move that Raja found, and it was a very important move right here at this moment, knight f4. If it wasn't for this move,
and it's just two bishops.
It's two bishops and
It's
a
good.
weakness on c6, but knight f4, it appears to save the day because it really is threatening to capture on e2.
Yes.
That's the crucial one. Like you can move your bishop, you can play bishop take, but capturing on e2 is what provoked this move by Andy. Now Andy says, "Oh yeah, but I'm going to win a pawn."
Yeah.
But bishops of opposite colors, and with the bishop already teasing f2. I feel like a draw in this game is more or less on the inevitable side, but let's see how, I think a draw more or less is inevitable now.
Well, yeah, we might even just lose our A-pawn now. Well, no, the A8 square is guarded, sorry. I was thinking like rook A8, it's hard to defend that guy.
No.
Not yet.
Not yet.
But it's hard to move the A-pawn.
Yeah, something like h6. You just kind of like...
Gotta start with that, and
Yeah.
then we'll wiggle out.
Rook d8, rook c8, and slowly, because you're going to be tied down. Something is going to have to maintain a vigilance, whether it be over f2 or a2, and I think that this game is headed for a draw. Where would you like to go?
Well, why don't we see what the players are actually fighting for?
They're fighting for a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
in the A group, it's a prize fund of $23,000, with first place taking home $5K. Second is $4,000, third place $3,000, and so on and so forth. And
Thank you, St. Louis Chess Club, and the prize fund for the B group.
over in the B group, it's very decent money as well, $17,000 altogether. First place takes home $4,000. Second gets $3,000, and third gets $2,500.
I can't emphasize how important these types of events are for the lady players. Irina, Alice, Begim, if they're playing in a tournament, doesn't matter, Chicago Open, World Open, National Open, the events don't guarantee a professional outcome.
That's true, yeah.
They've got a lot of expenses. They can come here, they can prepare each and every day for an opponent. They know their pairings, they've got their hotel, all their expenses covered, and a decent prize fund, so they can train and feel like, hey, I'm
And
a
feed
professional.
themselves.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So, there was a game as we were coming on air that I really liked. Unfortunately, I don't know how much of this is theory. I suspect a great deal of it is. This was the game between Steven and Irina Krush. And
two of our leaders seem like they're heading towards that draw in the Catalan.
Right.
Steven is, of course, also tied for the lead.
Exactly.
And could pull ahead if he does well today.
And Sveshnikov now previously in the tournament, a2, a4, followed by bishop d2, bishop e2. It was a very big fight between Steven and Akshat. Queen f3, a new, an old move, but a little bit of a twist, as we'll see. Now, again, very limited, because the strange thing is, I played all kinds of Sicilians in my career. I never played a Sveshnikov because I didn't believe in it.
Okay.
Like
the white side.
Yeah, I was always of the opinion that d5 was, too soft. Today, been proven not to be the case. Queen f3, I always thought that the move here, and it was kind of an automatic, was bishop e7 and castles quickly. Irina played a6, and one of the twisted ideas behind queen f3 is this like bizarre move, queen a3. It's like,
Yeah, that's where queens belong.
what are we doing? We don't have time to play b6 and bishop b7. Irina went bishop e7, bishop g5, and I have it in my mind that I've seen this play before.
Yeah,
I just don't know what the state of the modern theory is.
It looks like an opening trap, right? It looks like
Right.
white did it. We trapped black, but
we won in exchange.
but also,
Well, careful,
Yeah.
because this queen could easily become trapped. f5, I really like this move very much by Irina. She's expanding on the king side and gaining space, important space for both of her bishops, and simultaneously kicking the bishop on e3. Now here, I was a bit perplexed, I'll put it like that, by the move bishop queen a4. I thought bishop d8, eyeballing bishop b6 was an automatic. We had spent a little bit of time just looking at c4, c5 as a way of trying to rescue white's queen. Takes, I think we were looking at a variation more or less like this and coming to conclusions that it's probably quite playable.
it seemed okay for black.
Right. Irina found what she thought was a better solution. She played the move queen a4, lining up for the very straightforward queen e4 check, and maybe in that case, planting her knight on.
Playing for mate.
Yeah. Now, bishop to d3, that seemed like a fair solution, and white ended up in this position. He's an exchange up, but two bishops, and Irina's direct play, bishop check and bishop e4, she wins a pawn on the spot. Now, I'm just kind of like seeing this position, not necessarily for the first time, but looking things over. I think I find the move king e2 a little bit passive, and I would find the move
king c4 and
king c4 a little bit more too punchy, let's say. Now, I might get myself in trouble. I mean, I might stagger into some kind of a losing position, but just for humor's point of view, something like this, and I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to say, I guess.
I'm in
but-
exchange up. I should be okay. By the way, while we've been talking, I see that we have our first result in round 7.
Yes, that's between Alice Lee and Melik Kachian, who have officially drawn their game.
Exactly.
Okay, Stephen chose king
e2, bishop e4,
Yes.
f3, bishop takes. So essentially what Irina has is two bishops against rook and bishop, and she has a pawn. But you know, as Stephen has been proving to us, the bishops can be really, really strong. And with this last move, the majority on the queen side, you'll notice that it's stymied. It's not so easy to create a pass pawn for white.
Yeah, white certainly has some work to do to fix these pieces. So
And-
yeah, we saw bishop e1 to f2 is a nice way to get the bishop doing something,
Right.
but these rooks, they crave files.
Right.
They don't have them.
And for me, I much prefer black, as in much prefer black. I think I would play king f7, bring my king to the e6 square so that I'm kind of nicely centralized. And on a good day, d5, e4, let's go.
Playing for the win.
In the immortal words of myself, push him, baby. Get those pawns going. Let's do it.
Absolutely.
This could be a nice bounce back again. And Begim, we'll
check
quickly just check in on her. Petrosian, a2, a3, Petrosian variation against the Queen's Indian. This, seriously, this in the 80s, this was, I mean, as boring as you find the Berlin today, this was like the top of fashion. And Garry Kasparov, Boris Gelfand, on the white side of this, played these things like a religion.
Yeah.
And it was considered a no-no to play e takes d5. That was just
You put your bishop on b7.
It was a
and
bad
then
move.
You close the diagonal.
And Garry Kasparov played numerous fantastic games. Look at his game against Lajos Portish from Banja Luka, 1981. Brilliant game. Queen c2, and that was a big rage. And again, Boris Gelfand. And we would often see these types of situations arising. Imbalances like this one on the board with bishop to d3, knight to d7, and these were very, very, very common positions and three-result games. I have played against Grandmaster Anatoly Lane, e2, e4, knight takes c3, b takes c3, bishop takes e4, knight e5. And while I got good compensation, my victory in this game wasn't due to the opening. It was just a blunder and time trouble. Black equalized, and it was fine. But there was a lot of stuff. But the whole point was to keep the diagonal open for black.
Of course.
This move, e takes d5, you're now transposing into a Queen's Gambit declined, not a Carlsbad, but you've already committed yourself to this diagonal, which is closed, and it's not considered a good line at all for black. White's play is really quite straightforward.
Yeah, white just plays all the normal moves.
I'm more familiar with b4 and queen b3. Queen c2 is perfectly fine, no question about it. And here Begim is going for a Harry Nelson Pillsbury attack, the Pillsbury attack with knight e5 f4. There was a lady, she came to St. Louis, and she was at one of the closing ceremonies, and she said something like, blah, 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 blah. I'm the great-great-granddaughter of Harry Nelson Pillsbury.
All right.
And I've been told that there is an attack that bears his name. And we were like all stunned. It was like this woman came out of, history.
That there is,
And she was absolutely right, and she was a real sweetheart. f2, f4. Okay, well, Begim, she likes to attack, and she's saying, what are you going to do? You don't want to open up the F file.
I don't think so.
This is just, you'll put you on suicide watch after this, because F7 is just simply way too tender. So in a way, it's supporting her bishop. Another way, she's kind of eyeballing opportunity of bishop to b5 and maybe even, winning control of the c5 square. So you might say
over there.
c6 square, sorry. So you might say, doom or bust, you better go c5. c5, bishop b5, again, essentially, I don't really see too much choice here for black. Other moves just don't make sense. I don't like it. You can't
really play rook f8 here.
No, rook f8, bishop h6, and we're just having too much fun. So you're forced to sacrifice in exchange. You get a knight and pawn. Ooh. Do we like that move?
Knight f5?
I'm not sure I like that move.
Well, maybe you were expecting bishop c5, right?
I was expecting knight b3.
Or knight b3, okay.
Okay, so for me, you'll hear me repeat myself time in and time out that I like anchored squares. Now, unless there's a cheapo that I'm missing here, so the idea is e4. Where do I want to put my knight? I want to put my knight on e4. I want to go knight to c5, knight to e4. Now, there might be a trick, because this is coming with a gain of tempo.
I can take my exchange back, right?
This one, yes?
Yeah, so bishop takes d5 and knight takes c1.
And then I'm perfectly fine. So knight b3, what would Begim do?
Let's say move the rook, maybe rook ce1.
Brilliant. And so I get a tempo.
Absolutely.
Important.
And yeah, I'll have to pick a square with my queen, but you're getting what you want. I'm not stopping you.
Right. That was my, if I can plug up e4, I feel a little bit more confident in my defense. It says knight f5. Okay, knight f5, knight b5. Okay. Bishop c5 check. No.
Bishop c5 check. I think you can capture it, right?
So once again, just help me here. What am I missing? Takes. I want to take your bishop.
Let's say bishop takes e5.
Fair. Now I pause. Bishop d4 check is fine, so I have to take.
And I'll go queen takes e5.
And this is what?
It's still an exchange.
Yeah, it's still an exchange. I'm not exactly sure if I'm... Okay, fine. Begim has played knight b5, so she's eyeballing knight c7. Bishop a6, a4, h6. Bishop
Okay,
f6, bishop
encouraging this capture now.
Queen b3 again. She's looking at knight c7.
Stepping out of the pin.
It's kind of funny because I think whenever I see those squares, I'm more or less a Catalan kind of guy, and bishop on g2, plant a knight on c6, and you can go to sleep. Looking at that c6 square, she has played queen b3, takes. You notice this knight might be heading back towards c5.
it's jumping around a lot. Yeah.
Just saying. Yeah, look.
Mission accomplished.
That was a square I wanted like 4 moves ago. But okay, we are here. And, well, Begim's for choice now. You mentioned it just a moment ago in the game of Irina and Steven. Rooks won open files. Have a look.
They've got him.
You got it. They sure do. And you're not even a pawn down. You're about to snap on h6. There you go. It must be a simple winning procedure from here.
So
Let me just refresh my board.
This is where the game stands.
Begim looks in cruise mode now.
Yep. Extra exchange. Black's getting attacked. F6 check is going to be a problem, and everything else is going to be a problem. It looks like this is
all she wrote. So, for example, a bad move, a5. I'm not even going to play en passant, which I would, by the way, just because I think this is the threat.
F6 is a direct threat.
Exactly. This was exactly the oops, excuse me.
Take, and rook f1 check.
And bingo bongo. And that was... This is the dream. Now you're just coming for the king, and it should be mate. So in this moment, f5, f6 is a winning threat, and almost the last thing you want to do.
It really doesn't.
Even as you're reaching to stop the move f6.
Yeah, this game might end soon.
Very soon.
Sooner rather than later.
All right, we're going to go over to the A group, and once again, check in on our tournament leader.
Yeah, our tournament leader, Andrew Hong, with black here. That queen went somewhere unexpected.
It certainly did. E7. Okay. You kind of encouraging me.
Invites the rook in, but can the rook stay?
Okay, this is a crafty little move, a little double-edged twist. Want to play bishop b4 while you're not looking. And sorry, just you see this position and you start to look at knight takes f7 and say, okay, why not? Let's have a look. Why not?
Maybe I can play knight f4 again.
Knight f4 again. Yes. Very important. Okay. So no, wow. No beautiful...
It's a little airy, but I think I'm taking the piece after all.
No beautiful discoveries. I think I've been afflicted. Afflicted by that guy, Daniil Dubov.
Yeah.
And watching his games has had a negative impact on my play.
Okay.
It's like,
Takes and...
no. Daniil Dubov is...
only Dubov can do such things.
But you know what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to go
Absolutely.
knight h6 check and checkmate with my rooks in superb fashion.
You've given up a lot, though, I think. You've given up a lot.
A queen for a bishop? I mean, again, there was this wonderful expression by Robert Hubner. So Robert Hubner was asked about various players. Viktor Korchnoi, fighter. Anatoly Karpov, technician. Velimirovich, too much talent.
Too much talent.
And I feel like this is what I'm doing in this game. That'll do, Bob. Too much talent. Don't do this at home, everybody. Knight f4, again, just to go to the end of the line, and probably the line is going to end very, very shortly. Queen e3. I'm assuming queen takes e3.
You can do some fancy things, but I'll take c3.
Right.
And then I'll just take f7.
And then at the end of the day, we are hosing everybody off the board.
I think technically white's up a pawn, but
yeah, I'll have to do some lifting. That was not what I wanted to do, by the way, when I played the move knight f7. I didn't want to walk into knight f4 and sacrifice my queen. I was
hoping for rook f7.
Yes, and getting some nice spiel. Queen d2 was actually played, and let me just refresh the board. We were caught up with play. Players are playing slowly.
Yeah, it's the kind of position where
only 18 moves, and both players are underneath. Pardon me, less than an hour.
But it is the kind of position where the pieces might all disappear, as you just saw. And then you're not going to need much time if that happens, but if it doesn't, it'll be trouble.
Okay, so let's kind of dissect what's going on. It's very clear.
There is a threat.
There is a very massive threat in the position. Bishop b4 captures the rook. Rook really should not move because f7 would be taken. So what are we going to do?
So can I solve my problems simply?
Simply.
I don't see the simple ways.
Do it
the simple. If I move my queen to b6 and then plan to meet bishop b4 with c5, is this the simple way?
The question is, where are you moving your queen? Again, borrowing from the Catalan book, there's the lines in the Catalan where you go bishop d2 and bishop a5. Yeah. And so, unfortunately for me, I have this wired and a hard wire that bishop a5 is actually a pretty good move. In this case, you're making me do it with tempo.
I don't think it's unfortunate for you. I think it's just there.
Yeah.
So then I think I have to try to get creative, right? Like I can't just move my queen somewhere. Like queen a7 looks miserable.
Not what you want. I mean.
So let's get creative. What if I play bishop takes f3 and start with the complications?
Let's have a look-see, because that, whether you like it or not, that might be the path you're on.
Yeah, the issue is there's still no good square for the queen. Like I almost want to give it up, but it's not not promising.
I think you're absolutely right that there aren't any good squares for the queen. So, in the words of somebody great,
another Zug.
Whatever you can do, I can do better. You attack my queen, I attack your queen. And that's a funny thing because the queen is actually tethered to the bishop. So it's not like you can go queen e1, and that might just be
Good enough.
a great answer.
And Andrew agreed.
He did play bishop takes
Bishop
f3.
takes f3 is on the board.
Okay. And for certain, he does have that bishop g5.
It's a nice resource.
It's a wonderful resource. Absolutely wonderful. And this is not why we played, these positions. By the way, I'm a big fan of variants. Do you like chess variants?
Absolutely, yeah. I've played all kinds.
One of my favorite variants is Bug House.
Yes.
What we call Siamese in the Northwest, and that's where you have a partner, and you capture pieces, and you give the partner their pieces, and vice versa. So you get to place these pieces on the board, and I love it. A similar variation is a single-person Bug House called Crazy House.
Of course.
That's where when you capture your opponent's pieces, they kind of become treasonous, and you get to use them.
Yeah.
So every capture, you capture your opponent's pawn, you can put him on the board. And one of the things about Crazy House is that you can never weaken your king. Like, this is just, this is death all over it.
Yeah, there's going to be a knight h3, a pawn g2.
Right? That's exactly what happens. So having played too much Crazy House, I'm just like, no, can't go there. But on the other hand, we are not that pleased with the outcome here because looks to me like Black has weathered the king side,
Yeah, the rook on d7 doesn't do a whole lot.
Yeah, I mean, unless you have these kinds of wonderful moves, rook takes e6, and then suddenly the open 7th rank, and you get to play rook takes g7. But you need
not
firewood.
Pieces,
yeah, you need firewood to make that happen. So I think this game, Black is not worse, and could, the potential is there, stand better.
Yeah, so I think Ante is still thinking after bishop takes f3, and for good reason. Is there anything other than taking the bishop back? I think, say, queen d2, bishop f3 is on the board.
Yes, sorry.
And
we were looking at bishop b4, bishop g5.
Like, okay, knight takes f3 doesn't look like a disaster, but it doesn't look like fun.
No.
Gf3 looks pretty bad.
Right.
Bishop b4, we thought bishop g5 might
just a very good answer.
Yeah.
Just a very good answer.
Is it just winning for Black? I think it might be.
Right. I mean, you took a piece, and too many things are hanging.
If anything, then I think we're going to see this knight takes f3, and Black's just going to be on the better side of.
Which means,
the game.
If that is the case, then queen d2 did not deliver the goods, as we might say. And once again, I'm not 100% sure. I should have come out of this with an extra pawn. We were kind of being modest.
We were, playing along a little bit, but
right.
So takes, pawn takes, so...
We took this along because I think that's a good... Now, here we could do
a lot of
like,
things.
Knight takes g2 might be a very satisfactory move.
Also, knight, I was going to say knight d5, but I like knight g2 better. So
I like knight g2. I mean, because now suddenly, and we put our rook on e1 with purpose, and now the purpose is
to give Black a tempo.
Yeah, and that's not good. So I think Andrew has solved his opening difficulties. Let's just jump around.
Yeah,
we're going to go to Nikolas and Grigoriy, shall we?
Absolutely.
All right.
This was the thing that looks like an exchange Slav, but isn't.
It isn't.
It was something else, but
yeah. And it's funny,
that knight on b3 is
right?
working harder every day to make it an exchange Slav.
Now, if you were to tell me, it's like some kind of a chess trivia game, and I give you a card, I give you the position, and say, what opening did this come from? I go, oh, that's easy, exchange Slav. It wasn't an exchange Slav.
Those games can be fun.
I know, right?
So I actually play a line in the exchange Slav with white, where I get that structure on the king side with the
Okay.
colors reversed.
Okay.
And it doesn't seem like the structure is so bad at first, but having this extra space on the king side helps a lot in a lot of end games, because later on maybe we're gonna just play some h5, h4 thing and open stuff up over there.
Gotcha.
And after f3, I would always reply h5 and
H5.
just hold the position.
H5. So from White's point of view, I think his play has to come down the H file. So from White's point of view, I think it's necessary, whether you like it or not, to play rook to h1 and knight to f4. Now you can get a knight to c4, and probably you should aspire to do that.
I think I will.
Okay. Let me not lose a tempo. Let me take.
And I'll take with the b pawn.
Very good. Let me complete my grand scheme.
And I'll start with rook b8.
Yeah.
And then I'll think about how to save my stuff.
What comes next? I know the setup I want, but I'm trying to understand, is it a queen on h1 or a rook on h1 that I want? So in other words, I'm going to play queen c2 or rook c2, and then I want the other to go to h1.
Certainly.
So let me bury my rook. Okay.
So I know the bishop on e7 seems
Yes.
like a good piece, but I'm thinking I might just use it to capture a knight on
Okay.
f4. So
Okay.
I'll go ahead and play bishop d6,
Right.
and that's how I'll solve this problem for the moment.
Sure. Rook h4 and queen h1, or rook h, yes. So then in that case, I do want to do it with the rooks. Okay, cool. I got it. Ha!
There.
Queen c2.
I'll stay the same.
Rook h5. Rook h4.
Certainly. And the threat is rook h1.
Correct.
Can I generate threats of my own, or do I just play defense?
Woohoo. Yay.
I might have to play defense.
Might have to play
which would
defense.
indicate maybe White's making some progress.
Well, it's very, very much a timing issue. So you could play king g7 and rook h8. By the way, I saw that Begim has won her game.
I converted that position against
It
Josiah.
Yeah, that f6 check looked like awesome.
So once
here-
again, Begim returns to form.
Exactly.
And, depending on the other results, may rejoin the leaders.
Yeah. Just for argument's sake, just throw some moves on the board here for a moment.
Yeah, if I
Bishop
can
e8.
somehow defend that pawn with a bishop instead of a queen, it would be
Right.
nice.
This would be more or less the desired setup that I think Black wants, that he would have the bishop defending the h pawn, not the queen.
Of course, yeah.
And you want to put the queen really against the b2 pawn. Let me just do a quick refresh to see where we do stand.
Chose
Intriguing.
GF3 instead.
There was no h5. There was gf3.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming gf.
And yeah, I don't hate that decision. Because yeah, h5 is nice if we can hold it together, but if
Right. It might
it turns
just
out
be
to be this weakness, then
Yeah, it might just have been a timing issue, and you couldn't get everything set up just the way you want. And here again, I'm thinking knight c4. Now here I had a bit of a problem because I wasn't quite sure which minor piece to give up, the knight on c4 or the bishop on c4. I didn't want to tolerate the knight, but here I have a different plan. Let's say rook b8.
certainly.
Only because Black has been so kind as to open up the second rank. Now I feel that the rook on the second rank isn't bad. In other words, I'm going to do double duty. I'm going to be attacking, putting my rook on h2, defending, putting my rook on b2. My dream is to put my knight on c3. A moment ago, I don't know if we like it or not. And we've got some positions like this. b2, a weakness, but also holdable, defendable. I've got knight on d1.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to keep an eye on this. Where else shall we go?
Well, I hear Christopher Yoo, one of the chasing pack in the A group, has an interesting position.
Okay, let's see, where is he?
He should be playing Temur Kuybokarov there on
Board
third
3.
board. And
Ooh.
here he comes.
Okay, snap.
F3.
My mind is boggled. Okay, it's not that you see this type of interactions often.
Very, very odd stuff.
But there's a tactic. The tactic is rook takes e1 and queen takes g2. If
Also, rook e2 is there as well.
if we make the desirable move, bishop to g3, we have to contend with queen check. King check. Now, funnily enough, I might not be adverse to this, but with the pawn.
The A-pawn. The A-pawn's the big problem.
No, that's real. But f3, oh my goodness. Okay.
By the way, we've seen a couple games now where Christopher Yoo is ahead by not minutes, but hours on the clock.
Is that one of these cases?
He has an hour and 5 minutes left to Temur's 8.5.
Oh boy,
Christopher Yoo playing quickly and confidently, and so far it's gone all right for him.
Go ahead and kill me. I'm sure it's there, by the way, but it just looks terrible for white.
So
my king has no defenders.
I go rook e2.
Very sensible move.
And
I wanted to meet queen e4 with king f1, and I didn't see the kill. I suppose it's there, but I didn't see it.
Yeah, I was wondering about the h file as well. If I can play, so yeah, start with rook check.
Okay, I'm playing king f1. I beg your pardon.
F1.
Because I'm dreaming of getting rid of this pawn at my throat. Ah, queen e4.
Yeah, now queen e4. Okay.
That is simple and powerful. Yeah, done. Got me. That's all she wrote. Looks like f3. This is because I am defending with a queen and a bishop, but the rook and especially the pawn on f3 the pawn on f3 in conjunction with rook e2.
The pawn counts as an attacker, yeah.
Huge, yeah. But rook e2, rook takes g2 is just bulldozing me. I don't know how to say it otherwise. It's just ugh, yuck. Do you see it? If you see a possible defense, throw it toss it in the ring.
Ugh.
No, I don't.
I get halfway towards like almost saying something, and I'm like, wait, this just doesn't work.
That's just terrible,
I
right?
think it's all she wrote here.
I do too.
G3, we said rook e2, and you tried queen c3.
I didn't want to play queen d1 because I was really afraid of, and I know I was afraid of something very, very concrete. I think it was queen h6.
And bishop f2.
Queen h3.
Queen f1.
Pause for a moment because a2, right?
Yeah, a2, but also d6. And
this is so. This is like
you're pretty close over there.
This is landing with some some force, oof. You know, and that's not the trading queens.
And I mean, like, that's like being really friendly, but even still, black might just win.
Yeah, you know, it's really tragic to think that, you know, like I succeed in defending in trading off the queens. I succeed in getting rid of a great attacker, and it's still terrible. The other one that I had in mind was this.
Bishop f2.
This, right? No, you do have g4. Apologies. Sorry, you do have g4. So.
Aha, yeah, the skewer.
Yes, that was what I was banking on, but g4. So no rook takes f2. That was why I played queen here, threatening mate, which is why you played queen here. And we got ourselves into this ending where...
And, okay, maybe I can try a little bit harder and put my bishop on d4, ready to sacrifice it.
Sure, absolutely, absolutely.
And I'll go bishop c3.
Absolutely.
And I'm not in time to play d6 here, which feels kind of bad.
Right.
So then I shouldn't choose c3, I should choose e5.
Okay. So basically I'm kind of booting you around, and I'm trying to shorten the diagonal.
Well, now I think I can play d6 against that one.
Now you've got d6 because I can't get my rook around.
And my c-pawn guards the square.
So bishop to d4, rook to d2, bishop back.
And if a2,
a2.
I think I will start with d6.
Yeah, because c5 encourages
take
me.
it, yeah.
Right. That's not good. Oh, sorry. a2 is, no, that's good. a2, yeah, bishop e5 is good. a2 is good. d6 is good. Now we pause for a moment. We bring our king.
Yeah, I mean, it really feels like a bad time, but
right.
I can go knight c5.
Knight c5, and I'll take it.
And I'll take a4.
Okay, you're still kicking.
I'm just aiming for...
You're still kicking.
Some rough end game, but...
I get it. It's not... Well, it's bad, but...
It is pretty bad.
but somehow you got something.
It feels like we should have had mate instead of this.
If you can put up that... Whoops, what is that? What?
Was g4 played? Maybe. Yeah, g4 was played.
What?
So it's like g3, except it's not defended.
g4.
Yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't feel quite right. By the way, Christopher Yoo took 59 seconds to play queen e4.
It was like he was.
That's how much he believed in g4. Yeah.
Yeah, he was ready. I mean, it's boss chess because again, not enough defenders, and these attackers have marvelously harmonized the queen and the rook. As Christopher's hunting bear here, this looks like a nice winning move.
Well, let's see it then. My bishop's attacked. If I go king f1,
I've got queen takes c4 check if nothing else.
and then I'm
kind of going back.
So if I move my bishop,
yeah, if you move your bishop,
and while Christopher Yoo is
I've got another check.
Aiming to deliver checkmate here. I believe we do have a guest ready to join us in the studio.
Marvelous. And that would be Begim.
Yeah, fresh off her win here in round 7 is Begim Tokhirjonova.
Absolutely. As we'll get her mic'd up, I will bring her game up on the board. And let's see. As we are going to have Begim in studio to explain her marvelous victory in this round 7. Just getting her mic'd up. And you'll be pleased, Begim, to know that we have been looking at your game and applauding a number of your moves. Hi there, welcome to studio. Nice to have you.
Nice
tell
to
us
be
about
here.
tell us about today. It's good to win, huh?
Yeah, it's good to win finally, right? So I didn't expect him to play knight f6 and e6. He's not like e6 player at all. So you could see from the way he was playing that he wasn't really like
comfy.
Exactly, and then he didn't have enough knowledge, I feel like. But
Right.
he came up with this b6 idea to avoid some preparation, maybe.
Hmm.
So,
Do you use the Petrosian variation
well,
of the queen?
I played with black myself, so it was like,
Oh.
oh, thank God, it's okay.
You can be on the white side for a
Yeah.
change.
So a3 is the move. So you're not giving bishop b4, knight
Of
c3.
course.
Here d5, c takes d, and everyone takes knight d5,
Of
queen
course.
c2. This is a long theoretical line.
Which I was explaining to our audience as
Yes.
well. And it was always felt in my day that the move e6 takes d5, to quote Christopher Yoo, is wrong on many levels.
Yes.
And I don't like this move, but, well, I mean,
It's
it is
just easy to play. I need to
for
develop.
white.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for white. It's just a better version of everything. Queen's Gambit decline.
Exactly, exactly. And then it's time to get ambitious.
Yeah, knight e5, and I feel like he totally missed f4.
Right.
He was just thinking, okay, knight e6, because he felt like the position is not dynamic at all, so he can just, move around the pieces and maneuver the knight and g6,
Right.
and he felt like he wasn't in danger at all, but in fact, these positions are...
Very, very dangerous. Yeah. I'm not saying that you're threatening after the move f4 to sacrifice on g6, and then we do have a result. Christopher Yoo looked like he was winning when we left, and
He won the game.
he did. He did. But with the move f2, f4, it's kind of, well, it's a big statement. It says, I'm attacking on the king side. I've got a nice center.
Yeah.
And by the way, with bishop b5, I might have a positional overkill.
See, it's the known trick as well. If you
Mhm.
play with black pieces, this structure, you just know c5, always watch out, bishop b5 and bishop
Right.
f6, knight d7 ideas.
Right.
Obviously, he wasn't familiar at all with the structure. I think that's why he collapsed so
Exactly.
fast.
But also, you're putting pressure on his position. Like,
This is
if he-
already very unpleasant. For
exactly, if he doesn't play c5, the problem as I see it is
Mhm.
you really do start to look at bishop takes f6.
Yeah.
You do look at f5, and okay, so give me, your take on this position. How would you, if he had played the move bishop b5, anticipating
Yeah.
rook c8, anticipating bishop b5 c6? So
Mhm.
that, do you have a killer blow?
I
Begim?
didn't see killer blow, but I can play takes f5 as you said,
Right.
or I can even play funny move h4 maybe. I wasn't sure.
h4.
Yeah.
Just defending the bishop and maybe prepping f5.
And now I want to play f5 without like giving away the bishop.
Exactly.
So I was thinking h4 or bishop h6, which is probably not as great.
Okay, but also you've got
Yeah.
f5 on the. I mean, it's crazy, but knight takes f7, bishop takes g6, f5.
Everything is coming, and
Right.
c5 even is not a threat.
It feels really good. He challenged you with the move c5. You went bishop.
Yeah, and I have a feeling he missed that bishop b5, rook f8. He was calculating bishop f6, most probably bishop f6, knight d7, and then here c takes d4, which is a better version for him.
Exactly.
So he just missed that after rook f8, I can play bishop c6.
Bishop c6. That was your
Yeah.
intention. Wow.
So you cannot protect the bishop. Rook b8 takes, then knight c6, knight e7, and knight d5. So it's very
Straightforward. Yeah.
it's known too.
Right.
It's very well known trick. Bishop b5, bishop c6 as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like obvious that he had less knowledge than I did when it comes to this structure. Yeah.
Gotcha. So he was forced to sacrifice the exchange. And if you don't mind me saying, I thought that this was a key moment. I didn't like the move knight f5. I think you played it very well and straightforward after the move knight f5. If you don't mind me asking, I thought knight b3 was a little bit more tenacious.
Yeah, definitely. I also felt like that's why I was picking between queen d3 or queen d1. So I don't give knight b3 maneuver. But like the problem is that with queen d1, knight f5 is a tempo. So I had to choose between knight b3 or knight f5, this position. And bishop c5 is coming. So I had to play queen d3, and I agree, knight d3, knight b3 was a better way to play. But
it's not that I'm sad. I'm not happy with Black's position.
definitely.
I just felt that knight f5 was a step in the wrong direction, and maybe knight b3 was more
But
tenacious.
I was thinking, okay, rook c e1 even.
That was the
Knight
one.
c5.
Yes, that was the one Caleb thought too. And my point was, I thought the e4 square was at least,
Very important, right?
yeah, a good square for the knight. If I get my knight to e4, I have a knight and pawn as
Yeah.
compensation. I still like white,
Yeah.
but I thought that
And
this
then
was
here I wanted to play queen d1. So you don't have to move knight f e4. If you play knight c e4, I can take on f6 maybe.
right.
So take on f6, take on f6 and f5. Bishop c5, king h1. So I need to be quick here. I need,
Right.
Yeah, you're putting more problems in my opinion than knight f5 because you're giving away a tempo basically, right?
Exactly. All right, and here I still like white, but I thought it was more tenacious. Knight f5, and I didn't. Well, now it's like you've got your rooks have open files, and well, you exploited them very, very well. F5, that felt good.
Because he can still go to knight f5 and I still need to find the win. Knight
Right.
e6, I'm like, thank you.
Thank you. Now I
So
kick you.
you make it easier. And then rook c1 and just
Right.
like the position is collapsing.
There was a game that was ongoing. I don't know if you saw it, between Stephen and Irina,
Yeah, I saw
where the Stephen has an exchange more,
Yeah.
but the rooks have no files. Here you have an exchange more. These
why I
files are
opened.
glorious. I mean, these are like
I
open
made
highways.
sure to open, yeah.
Open highways, and this was a nice finish. And well, I must say that you've been having a truly up and down event, a roller coaster. You're winning games, you bad start, winning 3 in a row.
Yeah.
It's what's happening,
You know me, Yasser. Just depends on the day, right?
right?
Yeah, I feel like it's just a tough tournament, and I can be solid, but I can also try to play, even though, like, objectively, I'm the last rated player, so I could try to be more solid, make more draws and
Right.
stuff, but my style, I just love to play chess no matter the opponent.
Right.
If you're strong, that's awesome. So
Right.
I'm just trying my best to put up a fight, and sometimes it's going well, sometimes it's not going well. So
Well, you're provoking them and you're getting the fight. Begim, congratulations.
Yasser.
Thank you for coming on. Always a pleasure. You've got 2 championship games left, so go get them, Tigers.
thank you, Yasser.
All right, we'll see you later. And that was Begim, as she really played a very nice attacking game today. Got that Henry Nelson Pillsbury attack with knight e5, f4, and won splendidly. So our congratulations to her. We're going to go back to our marquee matchup in this B group, because it was the game between Andy and Raja. That was the bishops of opposite color ending. I must say that Andy's achieved something that I didn't expect. I mean,
He's done a lot here. He got his bishop out into the game.
right?
Bishop, you wanted to just leave it on h4.
I-
Just hitting f2 the whole time.
For the rest of
But
the rest of the
Raja-
game,
Just left it on f6.
which is a little peculiar. The other thing that I'd want to leave to the rest of the game is the rook on a3, and just make sure that that pawn remains on a2. If you ever allow a4 and rook a2, I'm
Now
starting to get
it's-
ambitious.
There's chances there.
Exactly.
But,
exactly.
okay. I don't think it's too late. Let's put the rook back on e3.
I think so too. I think that the position again is far more drawn than anything. But okay, it's still a pawn, and I don't say you have to suffer, but you have to defend.
And by the way, if that rook ever moves off the 8th rank, now suddenly there's a bishop e8 to contend with.
A sighting
So
there.
White does have some ideas left.
Of course, absolutely. Alice Lee drew earlier. We were looking at the game of Steven and Irina. I thought that when we left it that Irina was for choice.
Yeah.
I still feel that's the case. She is a exchange down, but if you look at the position of the pawns, all the dynamic play, including the moves e4, including the pawn breaks g4, is on white's side of the table. It's not like white wants to play g4. Like,
No,
you know,
certainly not.
And it's not like c5. White's breaks don't impress, black's breaks do. So I like Irina's game. Akshat. He did go for the knight G. Remember this position, F5?
Well, he played a C5 move instead, which is not something we had in mind, but knight G5 comes later.
Wow.
And H6 forcing the trade, and we end up here. And this seems like a win for black. from the immediate knight G5, this seems like
You've
much nicer.
achieved a lot as black. Great square on c4 for the knight, most certainly.
And it's nowhere stable for that bishop. The bishop on e3 can't really go to c5. It'll just get hit with b6. And
let's just see the most direct line. Rook takes d8, knight takes d8, rook to d1.
Back to
c6, and then bishop. So the difference here was by trading rooks and bringing my rook to d1, I don't have my rook stuck,
of course,
on this stupid square. This is not a Chigorin line, but in the Chigorin you get two bishops versus two knights, and oftentimes what happens is black's knight has one good square.
Yeah.
And then the other knight doesn't, so that white has an advantage with the two bishops. This is bizarre. I think this is a 3-result game. The knight on c4 looks really good, but the problem is the bishop on g2, I feel, is really just too passive. The bishop on c1 is no great shakes either.
Yeah, you can always envision a day when the bishops open up and everything suddenly comes up rosy for white, but we're a long ways away. Like black can play a rook d7 move and contest the file, and seems well within hand for the moment.
Right. We'll take a look at our A group, and first of all, let's just see how Christopher did win, because we didn't see the defense.
I think there wasn't much more to see.
And actually, it ended up pretty much the way we saw it. G4 didn't help. Queen E4,
so
King F1.
King F1, and then I felt very silly after you pointed out that Queen C4 just takes a pawn with check, but it landed on the board. So maybe that was the best we could do.
I mean, sometimes there's nothing to be done. And in this case, it's pretty clear. Queen C3.
Rook G2.
Or I was just going to say F2. And
that too.
Yeah.
Rook G2 is mate.
Rook G2 is mate.
Get him.
Oh, that's even much stronger. And mate ends the game. That is nice. And, well, after the move Rook E2, white resigned.
And Christopher Yoo gets the 1 hour bonus for winning the game with more than an hour on the clock.
Oh, does it carry over to the next game? Does it get the extra hour for the next game?
The game's worth 2 points now.
Okay. In fact, I believe Christopher is in studio, and he's going to explain the game. So
excellent. Let's get him mic'd up for the interview.
Indeed, we shall, as Christopher wins a very crucial game here in the A group. Andrew, let's just take a quick look. Ooh, intriguing game of Andrew. B4. That was a nice intermezzo. And we've got that. And again, we're just going to bring up the game between Temur and Christopher as he is getting himself all mic'd up. Hello, sir. Welcome back to the studio. You had a nice win today.
Yep. This might have been one of my most fortunate games.
Really? Wonderful. Yeah. Do tell us what happened. So you are on the black side, first of all. Hey, do you have a history Have you played your opponent before?
I have played it maybe online, but never in a classical game.
I see.
I had prepared this surprise opening after d4. I prepared bishop e7, which
That was a surprise for me.
Yeah,
I didn't know about,
Yes.
about your opponent.
nowadays at home I did a lot of I did the analysis to like depth 40 or 50 with the computers,
Wow.
and it's actually tough to figure out how white gets any advantage against this.
Depth 40 with the
It
computers.
goes now in 2024. The computers go up to like depth 45 or 50.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Rook e1. Tell me when things are out of your prep. So far, everything was okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So I have the feeling, I was saying to Caleb, I had the feeling that I've seen Fabi and Levon playing this variation. I don't remember the result, but who has played this? Who are the top grandmasters?
One of my opponents, Grigoriy Oparin, played it against me earlier this tournament.
Okay.
And the game was a draw. So I decided to try it with the other side.
Nice.
I can see. Yeah.
So are we still in the prep? Are we still in, or when does it start?
Already, he's just bishop h4 seems a little off. Just
right?
I don't know. After queen e8, maybe just white should maybe just make a move like, just like queen. What about queen e1 or something? Queen d3. I don't know.
Yeah. Bishop h4 a little bit off, and suddenly the bishop is off sides.
The queen e6. Now I'm threatening queen h6 and like g5 f4.
Right. So
And,
now you might just end up trapping the bishop, right?
Yes. So knowing this, he went f3 to give the bishop the space.
Right.
Now I really like the move I found, which was a5.
Why?
It cuts off, prevents the rook from going to a5,
Okay.
and the rook is almost trapped now.
Right.
On d5, it has no home.
Right.
It has to give itself up for the d6 bishop.
Exactly.
Yeah. But I guess he has some compensation, but
He went queen d2. Should he just play rook e1 and then after queen h6 give up the
queen h6
and then give up the bishop? Then give up the exchange.
Yeah, maybe.
The reason I mentioned it in this fashion, because you do have to capture with the pawn.
I still after c takes d6,
right.
I still have a nice move, which is bishop a6.
Coming up, yeah. So there's nothing I can really do here. It's like the initiative is just a little bit, I guess, temporary. Bishop e7, nah. Okay, good enough. He did not play that move. He played queen d2. He wanted to stop queen h6.
Yes, and now there's a trap, rook b5. This is what he might have missed. Bishop c6 d5. It looks like a good fork for him.
Right.
But the problem is queen d7.
Queen d7.
And if he takes the bishop...
Oh, no. I get it now.
I take the pawn, bishop takes h2 with check.
Oh,
and then I take the queen on d2.
That is beautifully hidden. That is a very... Because at first blush, I thought you were going to go queen e5 and take the pawn on h2 this way, but queen d7 is nice.
Yeah.
Much more impressive. That was very nice, Chris. I like that one. He played rook e1.
Queen g6, rook d6, c
and so this kind of goes back to kind of a line that we were just briefly. And at this moment, it's still kind of chaotic.
Yeah.
But you felt you were better?
At this point, I thought I was happy with my position as black, but I wasn't thinking that it was like, I didn't expect the final position. I didn't expect my pawn to get to f3, and I didn't expect to almost be checkmating.
Exactly.
But I thought he should just take my pawn on a3.
Yeah.
And you see a pawn, just take it.
Nice.
Yes.
The training is working.
Okay.
As it turned out, by the way, the
Yes.
pawn on a3, the black pawn on a3 was really dangerous.
Yes.
I mean, so maybe you're right. Maybe you should have just
Okay,
taken
maybe it's doubled pawns, but The
Okay.
position, okay, this position, it's still like not clear. It's not
Yeah.
it. I have a lot of different moves, and it's not easy to figure things out over the board still.
Agreed. He
Yes.
didn't do that. He played b3, rook e8, knight b5. We got this position.
Yeah.
And tell me when things in your again still chaotic. Tell me when was c4.
C4 it is very dangerous to play. I hear instead of C4 maybe
Bishop g3,
bishop
right?
G3 is possible,
And
and attacking the pawn.
And
And
what
I,
was
I
your-
was my plan was to F4.
you were going to play f4,
Yeah, bishop takes F4, bishop A6.
bishop a6,
6. And maybe he should play knight C3.
and just yeah,
Yeah.
chill.
Just chill. Yes.
Right.
Okay. And
Yeah.
that it's not like it's not so it's still not that clear.
Exactly. But his move c4 maybe was an overreach, a little bit too
Yes,
ambitious.
now it might just be lost for white.
Suddenly,
Yes.
vroom, this is a massive,
Yes.
massive threat.
Queen b1, rook e3, of course.
Also,
This is yeah, this-
f4, knight c3, rook
Now
e3.
after rook e3, I felt the game was just winning because now I have too many threats. Like rook takes f3. I also can play queen d3.
Yep.
I can, and his bishop on e1, queen on d2 is not that helpful for him,
No.
and it's there's just too much initiative.
That's what it felt like for us. I mean,
And I found a really nice move here, which was play rook e3, f3, and
Yes.
then checkmate.
Yeah. It's kind of one of those funny things that, we're defending with a queen. Once we put our bishop on g3, we're defending with our bishop. But there's almost nothing we can do. Rook e2 and rook takes g2 is just too powerful.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just too powerful.
Queen takes e3, queen takes g2.
Yeah.
It's checkmate.
Exactly.
He can't play queen e8 and also checkmate. The person who checkmates first wins.
Wins. That's what they say in blackjack. When you bust and the dealer busts, the dealer wins your money. So you checkmate first, and very nice game, Christopher. Thank you for coming on.
Oh,
Who do
thank
you have in your last two games?
Ray Robson and Mikhail Antipov.
Right. So Ray Robson, he's the #1 seed in the tournament.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that match.
Yeah, I'm happy to get white, so maybe against him. Okay, just play chess. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Christopher, thank you so much.
Thank
Good
you.
luck in the championship rounds coming
Okay,
up.
thank you.
Bye-bye for now. And that was Christopher Yoo going over a very impressive victory, and you heard it. He's the depth that his preparation was to 40 ply. He's surprising his opponent with the move bishop e7 in an open Spanish, and I don't know. I mean, how do you what do you say to that when your opponent is analyzed to 40, apply a 40? I mean,
Yeah, well, it used to
it's
be
mind-boggling.
It used to be you have to do all this clicking around to be sure the engine was telling you the right stuff. Now you
Right.
just leave it on overnight, and it's like, I've thought 40 moves deep, you're good.
Good to go.
And then you're like,
Yeah,
all
yeah.
right, I guess I'm good.
In contrast to what we just witnessed from Christopher, it was like, okay, tomorrow it doesn't matter. I'm playing an opponent, Walter Gentala. So what does Walter play? Well, he plays the Petrov, the Russian defense. Okay, should I play knight takes e5 on move 3, or should I play d4 on move 3? Well, Walter plays a funny line against d4, so play knight takes e5. Okay, good. And you're good to go. That was your preparation.
All set.
All set and done. And I mean, it's so like, we didn't play to 40 moves. And I remember a great story here. I was a kid in high school, and up north in Vancouver, BC, there was a big tournament, the BC Open.
All right.
And they had a great player from, I should know this instantly, Estonia, Paul Keres was playing in the BC Open, and I couldn't play because of my schoolwork. But on a weekend, I rushed with my friends. We drove up. And I was watching, like a hawk, Paul Keres, and his opponent played Petrov.
There you
And
go.
I think, okay, great. Now,
Time to learn something.
Exactly. And without thought, instantly, less than a minute, D2, D2. And, we saw knight C6, bishop E2, D5, knight D2, bishop C5, castles, castles. And essentially, it's a reversed Philidor, and Keres won in like 25 moves. Just crushed,
That's not what you're hoping for when you're like watching. You're like, show me something about the opening, and he's like I can do whatever I want, and I'm so
I'm
good,
gonna
I'm
even
just
play
gonna win.
this, and it was like this was not 40 ply
Yeah.
either. I mean, my gosh, 40 ply, my brain hurts. Let's jump into the game of Ray Robson, our
With
number
that
one seed.
win
Yes.
from Christopher Yoo, he is the first of the chasing pack that was a point behind to score.
Andrew.
So we'll see if anybody else can put on some of that pressure. You mentioned Ray. If Ray wins here, he joins Christopher Yoo.
And let's take a quick look. He's up against Benjamin Bach. And this came from one of those Joko pianos that nobody understands. And it transposes into what appears to be a Zaitsev. If you put this bishop back over here on A7, many times black in a Ruy Lopez goes knight to B4 to capture the bishop at the cost of what our predecessors called surrendering the center. So in the old days, the moves E5 takes D4, C takes D4 were frowned upon. They said that surrendered the center, but you only did it for a very good reason. And in this position, the good reason was that you get to win the bishop.
Take the bishop.
Yeah, the pawn on E4 is temporarily weak, so there you go. You capture the bishop, and now we get some
we saw a weird little queen shuffle, but
yeah, a little
back to
weird
normal after that.
maneuvering. Rook. Okay, if I gave this position to 1,000 grandmasters and I said, okay, show me your move, I mean, they'd all be looking at bishop A5, they'd all be looking at knight D6, and I think it would be a very, very, very select few
that even mention
in their candidates. And
whenever I see moves like that, I always think of Fabi's crazy run at the Singfield Cup where he won 6 games in a row. 7 games in a row.
The streak, I was there.
Yeah. And in one of these games, he picks up the rook from A1 and puts it on D1, and then he brings it to B1, and then he brings it to C1, and nobody knew what the point was.
Right.
But if you look at the computer, it's the top move every time.
Really?
And I'm like, what is this? What is
shuffling?
What is this about? But
remarkable.
He was dialed into some otherworldly force that tournament.
He certainly was, and anybody who was within spitting distance of the Central West End was watching history in the making. And the crazy part was, and I'm not joking, he won 7 in a row, and we were all agag. And then he comes into round 8 against Magnus Carlsen.
Yeah.
Well, Magnus messed up.
He
messed up in the opening, and there was actually a moment there that Fabi could have played well and won the game and
made it
extend
8.
his streak to 8 in a row. And I believe it was a difference of Magnus going down -5 and Fabi going up +5 that might have
made him number 1 in the world.
Yeah. Anyway, just picking up the game between Benjamin Bach and Ray Robson. Even material on the board, but the question is, does White have a more harmonious setup? In other words, I want to play knight takes e5. I want to bring my rook to e1, and I want to use this rook as a kind of a rover and to utilize the g6 square for leverage and go queen h5. Rook on a8 is out of play, and the question is, can Benjamin do something?
I'm not such a big believer in White's advantage here.
Okay, good.
I'll play rook e8.
Rook pardon me, not rook a8 to the e8. Rook e8. Knight takes e5. Let's go.
And I'll put my queen on f5.
F5 is a good square. And I will bring my rook into play.
Hoping you don't have any tricky threats, and I can just play rook a d8.
Yeah, I was trying to lure you into knight c2 there. My intention was to play queen c4 checks and rook f3. So rook a d8, not
me.
falling.
I'm bringing the pieces in the game.
not falling for my treachery. Okay. Let's see. Can I do some tricky, treacherous moves here? You know, your queen on f3, f5 bothers me. Let me see if I can.
And if I step to c2?
Okay, step to c2. Now
I am sort of abandoning the king a little bit.
A little bit, but I haven't. My desirable move, queen h5, is unfair.
And here I wanted queen d2. Very defensive, but
You're just holding in there.
Trying to contest these big open files down the center of the board. So there I thought I might play rook d4.
Rook d4. And no, golly, there's no way for me to land a punch. There's no way for me to land a punch. I felt it was wrong for me to play the move rook f3. I like my rook on this square. I don't know, knight c4, that's going in the wrong way though. I really wanted to try to get something on the king side brewing.
It's not so easy.
How do I get over there? It's not so easy. Check.
Yeah, here I wanted queen e6.
Check.
Just keep offering these trades.
Check. Queen to
queen c5. I wanted queen d5.
Right. There's no way to get. It's strange. There's no way to get over to the king side. That is very bizarre. I'm a little bit. I feel like I'm a little bit handcuffed in my ability to get over to the king side. Okay, let's just go for it. Knight g4.
I'll make a trade.
Yeah, good trade.
One piece down.
Yeah, one attacker less. One less attacker.
And now knight c2. You still have queen
e7.
Queen e7. I thought queen b3 also is.
Queen b3 also is a nice way of avoiding the trade, but queen e7, and then why did you play knight c2 to chase my queen to a much more aggressive square?
Well, I played it to take your rook.
Okay.
But
I would take your rook.
Not get there.
Yeah.
So, okay, I'll play knight d5 instead. Guarding.
Very.
Centralizing, guarding.
Yes.
All the nice words.
Now,
none of the bad words.
Yeah. So, my point that I have not been able to make is that your pawn shield on the king side has been damaged. There's an missing f7 pawn. So I was thinking that I wanted to play moves like, in this position, queen takes h6. Wanted to play moves like queen to g3 and really be nasty and, focus on the king side. The problem is queen takes h6, the desirable queen takes h6. Well, scrack.
Yeah.
I mean, that didn't work. Queen g3 comes, like just the one move wonder. I mean, that doesn't inspire. So the funny part is the only weakness I see in the camp is actually on the queen side, which is not at all where I was aiming my play. I was aiming for the king side, but here. If this is the best that Ray can do, then Benjamin is okay. But by the way, shockingly enough, look at the clock.
Well, this is the thing. Both of these players
Are
do it. So it was bound one of them was going to get there first. I'm
just not sure
there's one thing I'm certain
who
of.
was it.
Ray will join him there
Yes.
before too long.
But okay, but
Under
even,
5 minutes.
Even though I have to say 28 minutes to 3 minutes is an enormous, what is that? Geez, it's not 10 to 1, okay, 9 to 1 time. And the funny part is that after this game, should Ray win by tricking his opponent in time trouble, you would ask him, well, how does it feel like when your opponent, oh, that felt great.
That's kind of nice, isn't it? Yeah.
And then the very next day,
I had all this time to think about everything.
right,
And he
I
was sitting
set
there
the
with
trap,
2 minutes.
and he was nervous, and it just walked right into my. By the way, no rook e8, rook d5 by Ben, and again, I'm assuming I'm supposed to be playing knight takes e5 and rook e1.
I don't think it's too different. Maybe this is a more active way to force some issues. I think after knight e5, we'll still go queen f5.
Exactly.
But now maybe we'll double our rooks and try and give you problems on the back rank
As well.
Rather than this more passive offering trades thing I was going for.
Yeah, here rook d8, and you're kicking. I mean, it's in my view, it's a 3-result game. I was trying to prove, not very well, that the missing pawn on f7.
It feels like it should matter.
It should matter that somehow the pawn on c6, if it was on f7, I'm not going to discuss it. I'm going to say the position's even, but I was just trying to make the claim that Black's king was a little loose. I have not been able to do that. Let's continue our look around at this A group for just a second. So we saw Christopher Yoo.
I think we've seen everything besides
Have we?
Antipov and Awonder.
Let's do it.
And
things.
Antipov always gets here somehow.
Why hasn't he played knight e7 yet?
Yeah, any tournament with Antipov and Theodorou in it, you're guaranteed at least a couple interesting games every round.
Absolutely. I'm just pausing because knight on c6 back to b8, knight on f6 to h5. Awonder has something against his knights. I mean, he's not a knight lover. He's betrayed them. Knight to b8. Knight did get to f4. Okay, power to him. By the way, the move d4 there. That's
Knight c6.
what? How do I answer that? G3. Oi, 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 oi.
Three
Okay,
is
knight
attacked
takes.
twice. Okay, just making sure. Got it. All right.
Knight h4. Queen back.
We're trying to trap that guy. Oh
f4. Now, David Brunstein, he was exceptionally famous for enjoying the King's Gambit.
Yep.
He loved to play the King's Gambit, and in a number of his games with the King's Gambit, he just lost his whole king side. This might be one of the.
Starting to go down that way.
I was beginning to think that
EF4
after
it would have been
GF,
very tempting for me to try.
You lost your king side,
Okay.
but okay.
E5 must be something like the point.
E5
and this
is
queen on h7 is suffering, and maybe there's something there.
exactly. I don't think Awonder wanted to see all of that.
But he came up with this clever knight g5 move,
Exactly.
highlighting that the h pawn missing matters quite a bit.
Yeah. So if you take the knight, he would happily recapture and then say, "I'm winning my piece back." And maybe your king is a little bit uncovered. So knight to d5. Wow. It's taking me a while to just really, I don't think, even with a lot of time, I will fully get the zen of this position.
Yeah, like I see it on the board, and it's just like I don't know the rules of chess.
Right.
You got
takes
some
e4.
fancy symbols on the screen. Maybe they
Wow.
move around. I don't know.
Queen h5. I mean, look at these moves. I can't make heads or tails of what's going on. Bishop f5. He took a knight. He took a knight.
Took a rook. Took a bishop. Took a pawn.
And at the end of the day, whoa!
Bishop b8.
Where did that move come from? Bishop b8,
God.
anticipating knight takes a8, d5 check.
I guess so.
I mean, and the crazy setup with the bishop, and you could easily answer a check on the g file with queen g5, but oh my gosh, bishop b8. Hold on.
And that's the position. So
no way.
Hold on. Before anything, how many pieces? Who? What?
What's the material count? Okay, I see two rooks. I see two rooks and two minors for white. I see three minors and one rook. So it's an exchange.
White
it's
has
only an exchange. I see 5 white pawns. I see 5 black pawns. So it's a full exchange, but it's all about the vulnerability of the kings, right?
So if we're only up in exchange, what happens if we take the rook?
Okay, let's have a look. The problem was I didn't see an adequate reply for d5 check.
So 2 options, king g1 or king h3.
Okay.
Let's try king g1.
And queen g6 check.
And king f1.
And king f1. Okay.
I can give you a lot of stuff back if I need to.
This feels frightening. I don't know, but it feels like I should be scared. Maybe I only end up getting perpetual checks.
Yeah, I'm pretty afraid.
I would be worried. h7 check, king h8.
Yeah, we can throw it in, but thanks to your knight on c6, it's not getting further.
How lucky can you get?
So king h3 after d5?
Yes, thank you. d5, king h3, but now, okay, shall we have a look-see?
And queen g4.
And a check.
And rook g2.
So,
and bishop f5.
Famously getting you from behind.
Oh, that one too. Oh my goodness.
It was Larry Christensen's great line.
That sounds like a Larry Christensen line, all right.
Getting you from behind. I'm afraid king h3, that's...
No good, and king g1 looks pretty scary too, so maybe we can't take that rook, but if we can't take the rook...
Well, in my mind, taking the pawn on c7 isn't a question mark. It's like, there's not enough question marks. Because I am an exchange up. I'm an exchange up. Maybe I don't have all the material goods that I would like, but what I also have, and this I find very, very valuable, the bishop is stuck. Yeah? So if I have to just go knight f4 and rook e2, and on a good day rook to g1 and chill, so long as that queen side, the knight on c6, the bishop on a7, the rook on a8 remains stuck for, 1, 2, 3, 4 tempi, I should be good. Knight takes c7, conversely, throws the game into some kind of a chaotic mix that maybe I don't want any part of.
I think bishop e8's a stellar move. I think that's one to remember.
Right. You suddenly brought the bishop to life. I'm not sure that bishop b8 is actually, probably is the best move. I'm not sure that I wouldn't want to start with d5, actually.
Well, now we do have time to play rook f2, I think, and we can meet bishop b8 with bishop f4.
Right. But it's it's almost like, you can see that black's pieces, you've given them life. I
Yeah.
mean, like, and there was no reason to let black get out, right? Suddenly the rook is out, the bishop. But okay, bishop e4, knight c7, bishop b8 on the board. Let me refresh.
I mean,
Play catch up.
I'm sort of convinced. I don't see how white's gonna save this game. Like, we went from up an
Like,
exchange,
right.
king, we're safe, we're okay, and now it feels like checkmate. might
Well,
happen,
well,
unless white
scary.
has some miracles.
Right? I mean, you almost start to think, okay, what if I bail rook e2?
Yeah, your move.
Bishop takes c7.
Bishop takes.
Yes, rook takes, pawn here. Now I can't play the desirable bishop f4 because whoop, there goes a rook. I mean that, and if I play rook f4, well, I'm not thrilled. Why did I walk into all of these pins? I hate pinning myself. Knight c7, bishop b8. So I can't bail with rook e2. There should be a bailout variation. I just don't know where it is. Here we go. Let's try this move. Now, because I am threatening check, and that's pretty severe, you probably have to take my rook.
I think so.
Let me take your rook. Now, the difference is that I get to meet d5 check
It's true.
with bishop f4.
Wondering about queen c2.
Looks good. Queen g3, give me your bishop.
I'll come to e4, I think.
It's a good square.
And now I would like to play d5. Ah! You made a threat.
I did. It's my only threat, but it's a goodie.
Oh, so after queen g3, maybe I start with d5.
After queen g3, maybe you start with d5. That's a good move. That's a very, very, very good move. And now I'm in a world of trouble here suddenly. Well, not suddenly. I've been in a world of trouble. My desired move was bishop f4, but after check, I can't go here anymore. I have to go up, and I don't believe it for a moment.
You can go to g1, right?
Because I still have the threat of mate.
I
Yay!
thought we would start with bishop takes f4.
Oh, boo.
For that reason. We have to do it while the queen is pinned.
Boo.
And now bishop e4, king
And then
h3.
I don't believe it at all.
Yeah, queen g2, knight e7.
This is one of those puzzle rush moments.
After knight e7, I think you stop looking.
Yep.
It's
Good enough. Good enough. Whoa, what does it all mean? It means that Michael
6 minutes to figure it out.
has eaten too much. Knight takes c7 was by no means required. Also, by the way, just a quick demonstration of why these pieces on the queen side are so bad. Just consider this move for just a briefest of moments. Knight f6 check.
Very tempting.
You take. The desirable rook g2 check is not in the cards, but what is in the cards is this. We just are playing against the black king. You can put your bishop back on g6, but you can very well understand that I'm not alpha 0. But you can understand that I'll have a rook on g1, I'll have a queen on f6, and your queen on h7 will be checkmated.
Very pleasant.
In the meanwhile, it's out of the game.
It's going to take you a lot of time.
It's going to take you a lot of time. I'm not saying this is the winning or
I think
anything.
the clearest point is if you just play like knight f4, and then now it's like, okay, we didn't sacrifice anything. We're just up in exchange,
and
I'm
we
getting all
still
my pieces
have, and we still have, again, we still have attacks ourselves. I mean, the knight not only is attacking, but in a nice way, it's actually defending our king as well. I
Definitely.
mean, that H file, as we've seen earlier, is
Oh,
important.
okay, moves have happened.
Moves are happening.
Lots of moves. So
Okay.
he took the rook.
He took the rook.
And d5 check on the board, king g1 on the board.
Okay, now this is where we got.
This was the most resistance, I thought, though. of the options.
What did we do?
I mean, king f1, everything else is checkmate, I think.
And then
Bishop
we
G3
saw bishop
was
g3,
our idea.
and neither of us were willing to defend White's position.
I was ready to stop saying moves here.
We were like, okay, let's go look at somebody else's game, because this was not. I mean,
And this
Awonder
position
having the fun.
This is on the board now. So
He's got his
Antipov chooses queen h3.
Okay.
That is what he says is the defensive try.
This is the hill I die on. Queen h3.
Maybe he's got a point. h7 check is not really a threat. Is a threat. It's a threat of a perpetual, at least. No, it's not. Kind of.
Might be. Okay, but now it's up to Awonder to come up with something wonderful.
He's already moved.
Bishop d3 check? Or what did he do?
Bishop d3 wasn't it. He's moved the queen. Queen f6 check. King g1.
Queen f6 check. King g1.
Okay, king e2 would have been mate in 1, so king g1 makes sense. And Awonder has already replied again. Is it with queen f3? I think queen f3
on the board.
Is what he played.
Okay, you were mentioning a perpetual.
Well, I was thinking I could go h7 check. You must
King
play king h8, and then I would go queen c8 and queen back to h3. And when I thought of perpetual, there was a queen on g6, stopping you from playing king g6.
Yes.
But now I think you can escape
with king g6. Yes.
But then again, what is black's threat after queen f3?
Let's find out.
Queen e3.
Let's play knight here and just ask black to do his worst.
Okay, queen e3, king f1, queen e1.
Mate.
Mission accomplished.
Now we know.
Okay.
And it's very important to figure that one out. So with the move queen f3, we've threatening mate in 2. Rook g2
is queen
d1. So that one is easy. So the rook can't move. Queen f1 is queen h1. So the queen can't move. So the rook can't move, the queen can't move, and we've got the threat of queen e3. Looks game over. It's not a surprise for us. It's we didn't.
We thought maybe things had gone wrong already.
Right. By the way,
so
another move that might be a threat, bishop f2 check. And take the queen. So multiplicity of threats, and these two bishops and the queen are working, well, dare I say it, wonderfully well.
So I'm up a lot of stuff. Can I sack my queen somehow? Is there any way? I wanted to play rook e2 maybe, but I think it's just not good enough. I think your move bishop f2 might be the antidote here.
Funnily enough, you wanted to sacrifice your queen.
Mission accomplished. All right.
Yay.
And
not maybe so yay.
h7 check, just for fun. Just a cheapo. Take my pawn.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Queen g3 and is a really fantastic answer for rook h2.
Yeah, it's just...
And in the meanwhile, queen h1 is not to be trifled with. Sorry.
And I did give just about everything back.
Yeah.
I'm not even up material
anymore. Wow, what a move by Awonder that
queen g2 I think is on the board. If we can refresh.
Yes, we do. Queen g2.
So this is another way of trying to get the queen sacrifice, but
that's a good move. Everything else was just a massive fail.
So queen e3 would be rook f2.
queen e3, rook f2. We're not dead yet. Probably we are, by the way, but
Yeah, and somehow the bishop on c1 is important. So
that
there's
was kind of a lucky shot. Okay. So
something else maybe.
the move I find somewhat attractive is just queen g4, because the idea is as simple as, if your queen has to move, you're going to allow me a discover check, which has to be a killer.
Yeah.
So
I like that a lot.
queen g4 has a lot to be said for it. It is a bit surprising that there's nothing more just devastating. Like,
Yeah, you know, we're never happy as chess players. It's like once you get a winning position, you're like, well, why isn't it winning with
This
checks?
way,
It should be winning
yeah.
with checks.
right? Why isn't it winning with bishop h2?
I'm only
bishop
winning a
f2?
queen here. I
Oh,
deserve
man,
checkmate.
exactly.
But no, queen g4 looks quite good.
Looks like, and we didn't go to the end of this, but this one felt like
a little wishy-washy.
Not
Yeah.
as convincing. Yeah. So I think queen g4 is what we like here.
Yeah.
And a wonder to play, and it's time
For the
factor.
first moment, he's taking some time. He played all of the past 7 moves or so pretty much instantly. After
Yeah,
bishop e8,
snip,
he was
snap.
like, "This is my line. This is what I got."
This is what.
But
And
Can you blame him for not being prepared to face queen g2? Like, you're like, wait a second.
Well, the beautiful part about that move is, like, we've got this great battery on the diagonal. We don't expect you to be able to defend the diagonal by challenging it with, how dare you, challenging it with the move queen g2. It just happens that queen e3, rook f2 comes with a gain of tempo. Surprise, surprise. The bishop on d1 that hasn't moved saves us. I don't believe it, but I want to say that for a wonder, when he played the move bishop b8, first of all, it's really a stunning move. But since that time, he just blitzed everything. It's like he calculates really well. Like
And practically, it's very nice when your opponent is getting low on time to be able to blitz out the variation, because maybe it's entirely possible at some point during this whole line, a mistake was made by both sides.
Right.
But if you're sort of semi-bluffing, you're like, I think my attack works, but just to be sure, I don't want to give him any time to try and actually refute my moves. Then it's nice to go quickly. So,
by the way, good move. Queen g4, queen f1. I kind of underestimated that move. I just assumed that any discovery was going to be, rocking the world. But rook g2.
Rook g2, but I'm wondering if queen h4 is the magic way.
Okay. That is a nasty, nasty threat.
And
no choice.
Rook g2?
No choice for me. I have to play rook g2. No. I was about to say bishop h2, but rook g2 and rook h2 and rook g2 back.
Yeah. So not queen h4.
Well, I don't
so,
know.
at least.
Okay, we still have to do the nasty things. Nasty things, shall we? Nasty things? So obviously I'm threatening knight f3.
So I'll take
You
it.
don't want to take with the rook because you need that rook.
I need that rook.
So you'll take it. Check.
It's truly crazy if knight takes d4. That knight on c6 that you thought just could not participate in the attack, but all of a sudden it takes away the c3 pawn, which is the key defender.
Right? Well,
that would be.
This is nasty.
That would be quite the end.
This is nasty because.
Yeah, king h2 is mate. Queen f2 is a queen. Queen f2 is queen g2 is mate.
Is mate. King h1, queen h3 is mate. So I think it's knight takes. Pardon me. Sorry, I think it's knight takes d4 here. So the idea, once again, is that we want to make a discovered attack with our bishop. But rook g2, and our bishop needs to go to d4. So
Yeah,
that
and
was why I was...
all these attacks on the king, it seems like f2 is the problem square to defend. So getting the bishop to that diagonal
Right.
is, yeah.
So the escape king f2 doesn't work anymore. So knight takes d4, devastating move. Give me knight f3 check. That's... the knight would join the attack. Forget it. It's overkill. I think it's overkill with the two bishops and the queen.
I thought so too, but now, all right.
The knight joining the party is too much fun. Bishop e5, discovered check. What are you going to do?
And if king f2, so last hurrah.
Last hurrah. Hip, hip. Where's the mate?
Where is the mate again?
Where's the mate?
Oh, Awonder's done something. It didn't.
He didn't.
I'm not sure what it looked like, but I don't think it was knight d4.
He played queen f1. Knight e7.
That's asking a lot now.
That's slow balling it, but he's thinking knight f5. So it must have been your move. It must have been that knight takes d4, c takes d4, bishop e5,
king
check,
f2,
king f2. We don't have a way to put the game away. That's hard to believe.
So queen g3, you have king e2.
Woof.
Queen f3.
How is this not winning?
So queen f3, you're gonna go to e1.
Only square.
And yeah, I'll check with the bishop, and you'll go rook f2.
Only square.
And you've got some defenders, but if I go bishop d3,
queen g1 only move.
queen
Can't go queen g2 because you'll take it.
Queen e2's mate.
Queen e2 mate. Okay, that's it. That's it.
So king d2 here.
Oh my gosh.
My
No,
this feels
so slimy.
really, really wrong.
Oh.
And bishop f4, king c3. I don't
Oh
know.
my gosh.
We're getting ridiculous.
Getting ridiculous. Okay, we thought knight takes d4 would bring home the bacon. No, says Awonder. I'm just going to play it very, very safe. I'm not going to sacrifice. I mean, he's already sacrificed.
Safe is one word.
yeah. He's already sacrificed the house. So I'm going to bring my knight to h4.
And it really felt like white should be able to make good use of that time to bring in some defenders. But
okay,
how do we do it?
That's what Awonder's saying. I don't see how you're going to stop me from just playing my straightforward knight to h4. Give me a rook killer shot. That's it. So what to do?
I want to make a threat.
Yes.
Dying to make a threat.
Queen. Funny you should use that word. Dying to make a threat. Dying
literally
first.
dying.
Dying to make a threat.
All right, I'll keep up the nonsense. Queen e1.
Queen e1 is nonsensical.
Bishop h2 is there. Okay.
Yes. And then I get mate.
Yeah.
Okay. I was thinking you were going to play queen e2.
Yeah, but I thought bishop f3 dealt with that handily.
Bishop f3 dealt with it handily. At this moment, by the way, I don't think anybody's dealing anything handily. Check.
Dealt with it unwieldily. King h7. Bishop h2 again.
Bishop h2 again. Always that same mate. Bishop f3 handily. Feels good. Feels right. Knight, sorry, I'm going to refresh my board. Knight to g.
Yeah, knight g6, and the time ticks down.
For Michael.
And
No, rook g2.
Knight g6.
Knight g6.
And yeah, Mikhail.
Ooh, we just had a
2.5
a
minutes.
very, very nice thunder roll over us there.
Yeah,
I mean,
it fits the mood.
h7 check.
Felt right to include this at some point, right? It just loosens up that king a little bit. I think we
were
probably
doing
just go king h8.
We were doing it at a time though. when we wanted to force the king to take the pawn.
Yeah.
And we were always afraid to do it and let the king hide behind the pawn. We were trying with the pawn on h6 to go queen takes g7, checkmate.
Of course, yeah.
That was like, you were saying I'm dying for a threat. That was our one, true hope that we could bail out.
And
now we don't have it. King
well,
h8 is an automatic for me.
Again, if you try queen f7, there's bishop h2. So
he has played king
played.
h8, and as you just pointed out, Caleb, bishop h2 is your go-to checkmate.
And we keep saying checkmate. I just see that we win the rook with check.
I think it's checkmate.
Yeah.
It's checkmate. It's for sure checkmate. Yeah. And wow. So king h8 on the board. Yes, it is.
And again,
And knight h4, we're
2.5
facing.
minutes to figure it out.
For
Awonder gets up from the board. Oh,
I got this.
man.
I got this.
That's some confidence.
I got this.
Yeah. And
By the way, that was also a tactic I like to do in my career, is when my opponent was in time trouble, and I always, because we were playing at a different time control, time trouble for me was 5 minutes or less.
Yeah.
When my opponent was in
there was
time
no
trouble,
increment.
yes, exactly. I would like to get up from the board, and it often, when I'm not there, provoking my opponent to move.
Yeah.
Like when you pick up your pen, it's like you're provoking, right? I want you to take all the time that you would like.
Yeah, no.
So my absence. Yeah.
As an extension of that, whenever my opponent's in time trouble, I like to make my my moves as casually as possible. Just like, oh, I think I'll go there. And before I hit the clock, I'll adjust the piece, and then I'll slowly hit the clock, and then slowly write the move. And meanwhile, it's like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, flag, thank you, sign here.
We've got an incredible barred burner excitement going on here.
Bishop h6 on the board, but yeah, I think Andy Woodward's game may have finished, but let's stay here just a
we
second
got
longer.
to. We got to.
Bishop h6 is the try.
Okay, that is a desperado beyond desperado. if that's the best you can come up with, and as you were saying, like my kingdom for a threat.
Yeah.
If that's the best you can come up with, not feeling it. Not feeling it at all.
There is the question of what happens if we take the bishop, but first I think knight h4 has to be the main line.
Everybody's favorite move, because you are threatening beyond knight takes g2. Knight f3 check is going to force queen takes f3. So knight h4. What on earth do we have in mind?
I think
Bishop takes g7.
It's the end. Yeah, and I'm going to be either nice or mean, but I was going to play king takes h7 and just...
Oh, you were going to be cruel.
I like the light squares here.
Sadistic.
But maybe I shouldn't.
I don't know. I think you can do. This is one of those ones where I don't think it really is possible for you to go wrong.
Yeah, you can take anything in anyway.
King takes g7, queen takes g7, king takes h7. I think all three lead to Rome. Wow. Bishop h6 and.
I think it's knight h4, and we'll see the end of this game pretty soon.
Is there a reason why we can't take the bishop, though?
I think we can. I mean, there's queen f6 with check, and then queen takes f7 with check.
And why? Why allow?
My king maybe goes to h6, but I don't love it.
Yeah, I'm not loving it either. I like king h7 as well, but knight h4 is... I think the most convincing, and Michael is just reeling.
And Mikhail is reaching. I think he will sacrifice the bishop, but there's no
if you look
no
at
line,
this position and you think to yourself, knight takes c7, knight takes a8. We unleashed the Kraken.
Yeah.
This bishop on a7, which was doing nobody any disservice, suddenly went AWOL.
Queen e2 played.
Queen e2.
So in a past life, we played bishop f3 to deal with this. Now we have an extra option with the knight as well.
Oh, I'm loving the knight. I think this is the resign.
And it must be king f1.
And then I think we just... Whoop.
Yeah, and we've blocked every file.
Oh my goodness.
And this is big news. Our leader in the A group has officially drawn his game
Andrew?
with Ante Brkic.
He came in with a point advantage.
Yes.
So he dropped a half a point. So the winner, anybody who was trailing him,
At
can
most
narrow the gap.
Narrow the gap, but not catch
tie,
him.
not catch him. We do anticipate Queen H3 and, pardon me, Knight F3 check.
And
You
then
were about
Queen
to
H3
say
to
that
follow
Bishop
is next.
F3 was also our kind of go-to.
Yeah, in a passed position. I think here it still makes sense because, again, if you bring the queen to the 8th rank, I'll take H7, and I have this Bishop H2, and it's mate with checks.
Exactly. So, but I must say, you know, the knight has made a glorious path. It's like, you know,
let it finish its journey.
you know, Hannibal's elephants have
Yeah.
crossed, you know,
The mountains.
yes, and you went knight E7 to G6 to H4 to F3, land the blow with the knight, and yeah, that's just a
It's
gorgeous,
a phenomenal game.
yeah.
by Awonder. Well, he was in actually some serious trouble
Of course.
until that moment when knight takes C7 landed. And Bishop B8. What a move.
Cold shower.
Just 180 on the game.
Yeah, exactly. Wow. Great stuff here at the Summer Classic, and a lot more chess coming this summer as well. And we've got
definitely.
Cairns Cup and
Yeah,
Grand Chess
so-
Stores, and
Pretty soon after we wrap up here,
Right.
you got about a week off, and then
it all starts
you'll
again.
be back commentating, right?
Exactly. I'll be
So
back in the mix there.
Stay
as
tuned
we-
for the Cairns Cup. Starts June 12th. Watch it live here. Some of the best female chess players in the world, including some of the ones in the tournament you're watching right now. Irina Krush and Alice Lee both will join for the Cairns Cup. Also a fun little exhibition match, the Ultimate Moves, starting on the 12th.
Right.
So-
There'll be teams, and there'll be trash talking
Oh, yeah.
for the ladies.
A little
there.
more lighthearted than the actual event.
Absolutely, absolutely. And by the
And
way,
Knight F3, Queen H2.
Knight F3 check. The knight completes this glorious journey, and Queen H3, and in view of Queen H1, and I mean, you got it. You got to
So-
move the queen, but
All right, I'll try Queen E3, Queen H1, Rook G1.
right. Stop for a moment because I'm looking at Bishop D3, but
Yeah.
is that the best I've got? No. Come on.
There's Knight H2, but King E2.
Oh no! Don't tell me there's still there's something I still have to look at. Just a second.
boy.
No, nobody.
Start with Knight H2.
Start with Knight
Yeah.
H2.
This
Of
is-
course. Come on, Caleb.
And so King E2, Queen G2,
and there
Mate
you
on
go.
C2.
Right. Whew.
And that is resignation. Awonder
Wow.
Liang completes what is an excellent attacking
Wow.
comeback to get himself back in the game. But
Just
we do have
great stuff.
a guest ready to join us in the studio. As we mentioned while we were following this glorious attack, a game that we thought was maybe closer to a draw than a win.
Yep.
Andy Woodward managed to make something happen.
My goodness.
And he's ready to join us here in the studio to talk about his victory.
All right. Thank you, Caleb, as we'll get Andy mic'd up. But that was a very, very, very big win indeed, because we thought that the bishops of opposite color position wasn't going to achieve anything, and we was wrong. We were very, very, very wrong. Rook here, yes. Hi, Andy. Welcome back to studio. Wow, a big win today.
Yeah, I
A
was
little
really
bit
lucky.
unexpected. Or-
Yeah.
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 Tell us about it. Go ahead from the opening. Catalan.
Yeah. So I wasn't expecting this D takes C4
Line,
appearance.
the
Yeah,
open-
because he usually plays Bishop E7,
Uh-huh.
so this came as a surprise for me.
Okay.
So C5, castles, knight C6. I had a few games in the database with D takes C5,
Mm-hmm.
so I knew he would be prepared against it.
Right.
So over the board, I decided to just like play something else.
Switch it up a little.
Yeah, that I knew a little bit of lines, but
Yeah.
I couldn't quite remember them during the game.
Right. While you were playing, I was sharing with the audience an old line I played as black. I don't know if you're familiar with this line at all. Queen A4, and then I would take, and my opponents would capture on D4. I would take the knight, and my opponents would capture my knight. I play bishop D7, and they'd play rook D1. I would take the rook, and I would have a rook, a bishop, and a pawn for the queen.
Yeah.
But the bishop on C6 is really powerful. And Caleb said, well, let's say I just develop, and I would go H5. And it's sort of like, wait a minute, who's having the fun, right? But you didn't go for the queen A4 line. You went for the knight A3 line. And this has been this was played back in the Kasparov Deep Blue match and Michael Tal. I think it was against Libojevic. I'm more familiar with bishop C5.
Yeah, I knew a little bit of bishop c5. Bishop e7 is the main line now, though.
Okay, it's become the main line?
Yeah, and I kind of forgot how the line went. That's why I spent lots and lots of time. I spent over like 30 minutes trying to figure out what the right line was.
Okay, because I've lost touch with the theory. As far as you know, is this all theory still?
No, definitely not. Yeah, I don't think so.
Okay, both players are on their own?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Knight d5, bishop e5. Now tell me when things are getting good or what's going on.
A couple moves ago.
Okay. Where was a key moment?
I was like, instead of queen c8, he thought for a long time. I was expecting queen d8.
Okay.
But it looks the most natural to me to just like get out of all the c-file pins.
Sure.
And then bishop takes c6.
B takes.
And then I was going to play knight e5, put pressure on the pawn.
Yeah.
This is probably what he didn't like.
Right.
But I think he's more or less okay after like castles, let's say, and then knight takes c6.
Sure.
Queen d7.
Okay.
I think I have to play like rook c1 to try to get an advantage.
Okay.
And then like knight d5. I couldn't see like a clear-cut way. But maybe bishop e5 here. And then like bishop g5. I was like, there was lots of like complications, but I was sure this was probably the best try for him, practically, I think at least.
Gotcha. Because the move queen c8 kind of just kept him in trouble, as you're saying, all of these pins on the c file. But even so, Andy, after everything, he did manage to lose a pawn, but get this bishops of opposite color, and you weren't optimistic at this moment.
No. I guess really the only way to fight is queen a4, because otherwise he's coming with rook a8 or like doubling on like second rank with like queen d2 and rook b2.
That's not fun.
So yeah, I have to act fast. And I'm lucky here that he can't take on f2. Bishop takes, like, after rook c2.
Oh, after rook c2.
He can't take on f2. If I take with either rook, he checks and
takes your
takes
queen.
a queen.
Right.
Yeah. Like if, so we have to take with the king. So I'm lucky that I can take with the king. So,
oh,
yeah.
nice.
This is working in a lot of different variations, like if rook b4 instead of rook a8. The same idea with rook c2 and taking with the king. I was lucky to have that idea.
Nice.
Otherwise, I think he's equalizing immediately.
Right, immediately.
Yeah.
Okay, rook a8, rook c2, rook takes, rook here. At some moment, I thought he was just going to play h6. And just,
yeah. I thought g6.
Or g6. Yeah, just to get out. And then your problem is you're kind of tethered to the second rank.
Yeah.
You'd have a rook protecting f2 and a2, but very hard to make progress.
Yeah.
You can't really kick him out. Things went in your favor at what point, though?
I think probably it's still equal. I think he was defending really, really well. And like rook c3, all this stuff with rook c1 was all correct. And then here, after king g2,
Yeah.
here he messed up with rook c3.
That was the bad move.
Yeah. I think just king f8, just go back and forth, and my piece is all stuck, especially my rook on e2.
Yeah.
Because there's no way to kick the bishop out of d2 with the king.
Right.
So my rook's pretty much just stuck, and his bishop's doing very well going against a5 stuff too.
Right.
So so in my rook and bishop, just stuck too. So
Gotcha.
this is equal, but rook c3, a5.
And suddenly
my pawn.
the a pawn is loose.
Mhm.
And now
I think it's winning.
it's winning.
Yeah.
Now the advantage is simply too great, and a7.
Mhm.
Well, sometimes you need to get lucky.
Yeah.
yeah. Andy,
Yeah.
thank you so much for coming in.
you.
Who do you have in your last two rounds?
Gorok, Begim,
Yeah.
and Josiah Steelman.
Both dangerous opponents.
Yeah.
Nothing's easy.
Yeah.
Good luck in your championship rounds.
Thank
We'll
you.
be watching.
Thank
you,
you.
Andy.
I'm going to get Awonder in right now, Yasser.
And as Andy leaves us, he's going to be replaced by Awonder, who just played a wonderful game. And it was really a cold shower moment when we saw the move bishop b8 land on the board. And we almost felt a bit of a heartache for Michael. Like, Awonder, welcome to the show. Nice to have you here. How are you?
Good.
Good. But what a game today.
Yeah, I mean, I got very lucky, so sometimes it just happens like that.
It just
Yeah.
happened. Tell us about the game. Take us through it. Take us through it because, okay, Joko Piano. It's
Right.
everybody's go-to lines these days. I mean, the preparation has been amazing, and my brain turns to mush. I can't figure out when a5 is required, when a6 is required, when bishop a7 is
Yeah.
required. Bishop b6 looks like an old move.
Yeah, I
Is it?
mean, same for me. I also have no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
So yeah, normally what I do is I just like randomly select like a selection of a5, bishop a6, a6, bishop a7, h6. I mean, some of
Set
them,
up, right?
just like, I mean, you randomly play them and it turns out to be reasonable.
Right.
Yeah, so here it's kind of interesting. I think a3 is very smart.
Okay.
Basically, my idea was like if he moves he doesn't really want to put his knight on c4, then I'll happily go bishop a7.
Okay.
And if knight e3, then I think his knight's a little bit misplaced.
Okay.
And if he goes knight f1, then I'll go bishop e6. So kind of wants to wait a bit.
And so you think a3 is a useful waiting move?
I think, I mean, it's not the top engine line for sure, but I think it's very smart.
Okay.
And then, yeah, after I went bishop a4, bishop d7, so I guess now I want to go knight e7.
And route the knight over to g6.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, and then, yeah, knight c4. Yeah, here he played rook e2, which I think is also very brilliant.
Really?
Basically, his idea is he wants to take on c6, and then if I take back knight a5, bishop f2 check, he wants to take back with the rook. And I thought those positions were probably okay for me, but a little hard to judge. Yeah.
Yeah,
like,
maybe.
He also
There's
has the
some
passed a pawn.
Imbalances could be
Right.
favorable for one
So
player. or
yeah.
another. It looks like Ray Robson, by the way, has won his game against Benjamin Bach. Rook e2, a brilliant move.
Yeah.
Knight
So knight h5.
h5.
A little weird.
Okay.
Yeah. And here I was like, I spent a lot of time not only on queen f6 but also on like g5, rook e6. There's a lot of stuff here. I don't know. Most of it was nonsense. I think I saw some line like rook e6, bishop e3, rook f6, bishop a7, rook takes f3.
Okay, you're really having a fun a fun day.
I think it doesn't work. But yeah, I
But-
had 2 hours, so I was like, okay, let's just
You've
start
got
thinking about random
you've
things.
got dreams.
Yeah, I know, it's fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, I think the game continued very normally, and he was playing very creatively, and I was just reacting for the most part.
Queen f6, knight e3, knight d8. That's no way to treat a knight, but okay.
I mean, I want to trade bishops, and I generally want to meet knight d5 with c6, so I think it made sense.
Okay. He could play knight d5,
Right, yeah, and
And
then I would go back queen d8.
chase
and
you back, and
Yeah.
you would play c6 one day, get the tempo back.
I think it's
somehow.
still like roughly equal.
Okay.
And then, yeah, he started, first of all, rook d2, I thought it was a mistake, but maybe it's just very smart again. Like, I don't know, this game, I think he was really on fire. Yeah, so his whole idea is to sacrifice this pawn with g3. And,
Wow.
yeah, I have to take, and knight h4, and then if queen f6, there's knight d5. So
Queen f6, knight d5, yeah.
yeah, queen d8, and then I don't know. He has some option, maybe queen h5, or I don't know. Like it looked a little scary.
Looks a little
So I was
dangerous.
like, okay,
yeah.
I'll put my queen on h7,
Okay.
which is not a great score.
Right.
And then he goes f4. Yeah, so I think, I don't know, he really deserved to win this game, I think. I think
That's brilliant.
yeah, I think it's I mean, exceptional. Like, first of all, rook e2, rook d2, and then now f4.
Right.
I think here I probably made a mistake. I played knight g5.
Okay.
I think I should take on f4. I mean, I just played too quickly here.
Takes.
And then, I don't know, there's e5. He can also take back. But if he takes back, then, I don't know, I might have some moves here, like rook takes e4.
I was thinking that he would play this for some strange reason.
Yeah, probably.
And then the idea was, you know,
Yeah, I think now I have to retreat knight g5. And then, I don't know, yeah, who knows what's going on. He has
scary
moves.
stuff.
But I'm also attacking e4, so it's hard to judge. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't really calculate this.
Right.
I just kind of figured, like, I don't know what this is. This doesn't make any sense. This must be good for me.
So knight g5. Knight
Yeah.
g5. I mean, yeah.
No,
from the crypt.
It's a very fancy move.
Exactly.
So I was like, all right, you know.
Let's go.
But yeah, knight d5, and here I kind of have a big issue because if I go if I defend the pawn with rook c8,
Yeah.
he plays d takes e5, d5, and knight f6 check.
D takes
D5,
e5
right.
and knight f6 check.
Yeah, and if it takes rook d7, and I don't know how to judge this, but yeah, I really disliked the knight f5 coming. Yeah. Now my bishop on a7 is out too.
Right, exactly.
So yeah, I couldn't find a move here. So yeah, I think here it's probably close to losing. It's really weird. But yeah, so we started going for desperation.
Right.
Yeah. No, honestly, he just kind of destroyed me for the first part of this game.
Right.
I was kind of accepting my losses here.
Exactly.
Yeah, queen h5, and like all my pieces are stuck. Like the queen on h7 is just so out. Bishop on a7 is also cut out. So like, yeah, I think if he won this game in the next 10 moves, then it would be very brilliant. But,
exactly.
but
and,
yeah.
And here we didn't like.
Yeah, he has to go knight f4. I think.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it just because my bishop on a7 is just going to be out for the whole game, and it just doesn't make sense to. Like,
Exactly.
I think even in general, like even if I go knight c7, rook c8, I mean, at least I
why
have this
why are
bishop
you
d8
helping
stuff.
me with this bishop b8?
Yeah,
stuff?
yeah. I mean, I'm not down material, but like my pieces on the queen side are so out of the game that.
Right.
Yeah.
I like knight f4 best. I even.
Wait,
glance.
wait, no way.
I even glanced at this because it's like one of those things where I get to play rook g1 and queen f6, and then it's the alpha 0 stuff.
Oh, okay. Actually, I do see it now. Wait, maybe you should be playing at the event.
I mean, it
I don't
was
know.
crazy.
Okay.
But we
Yeah.
liked knight f4. Knight c7, and you came up. Did you see this from afar, by the way?
No. I mean, I didn't even
It's-
consider knight c7. I think.
It's
Yeah.
such an all-star move. It's the cold shower.
Yeah. I think.
Because everything else is, well, rook c8, you're right, you know, but this is just such a superb move. I mean, it changed everything. I mean, it just
Yeah.
felt like it was a game changer.
I don't know. Sometimes you just get very lucky. I think that's
And-
basically what happened here.
And everything just flowed.
Yeah. I think this is pretty straightforward. I mean, it's just fantastic luck on my end. But
Now, here is a crucial question.
Hmm.
Did you calculate knight d4?
Wait, does it work? I didn't think so. Knight takes, e takes,
Bishop check?
bishop e5, king f2. I mean, I don't know. I didn't see anything here. Maybe
This is where you stopped.
you're looking at me like there's something here.
No, there's not, because we kind of stopped, because rook
Okay.
d2, bishop takes d4 was so cool.
Wait, I mean, yeah, I think here I have queen f3. I looked at, queen f3, king e1, bishop g3.
It feels like there should be something for you, but we didn't.
Yeah, I think the main issue,
Bishop d3 on this line.
bishop d3, king d2, I think is the issue.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I think now I lose. So I was like,
Right.
okay, let's not.
let's not do that.
Yeah.
But your move knight e7 was superbly restrained, and
Yeah.
it just says to white, okay, your turn, defend the position. I'm gonna bring my knight to h4 to f3.
Yeah, I mean, visually it's
It's
it looks too
great.
good for black to not
It
be winning. Yeah.
and well, bishop h6 was, like a stab in the dark. We just were in awe. We loved the game, the way you played it, and okay, you're right. You got outplayed. The first 20 moves, the 30 moves, whatever it was, but that move, the end was just wonderful. I mean, did you have this feeling like you were just playing this brilliancy at the end?
No, I had just this like massive relief that so somehow I managed to slip away. I have no idea what happened. I mean, I couldn't even understand like where my mistake was in the game. He played all these like strange moves, but somehow it all seems so strong.
Right.
And just like I was like, okay, accepting defeat. Like this is, I just played like was against like some genius, and then somehow like I managed to
slip the noose at the end.
I know it was. Yeah, I think it's a little absurd, but I don't know. I have to take those, you know. Like,
You're right. Hey, look. I mean, a win's a win. You got 2 games remaining. You're in quite the tussle. Who are your remaining games against?
I have Andrew as black.
So that could be it. That could be it.
Yeah, that's probably his opportunity to cement the lead.
Okay.
And then I have Benjamin with white at the end. So,
Good
we'll
finish.
see.
Awonder, thank you so much for coming on. It was great. Good to see you, by the way. I'm looking forward to our S-chess matches.
We have to play.
We have to play some more. But congratulations.
Yes,
Quite the victory indeed. What a game. And we've got... I see the game between Irina and Steven there. Let me just bring that up. As we have our remaining guests coming into the studio, this is, whoa, holy smokes. 2 bishops, but the rooks are, the rooks, I think Irina's losing. Rook to d6. Should be winning. Welcome back. Welcome back. You know, we got caught up in the game of Awonder Liang. I don't know if you managed to see it, but it was just a crazy game against Michael.
Yeah.
It was just. What happened in your game? Apologies.
I think my game was kind of very positional for the first part.
Okay, just a second. Where are you? I have to find you first.
Nico.
Where are you? No, I've got Awonder.
Nico.
Number 2.
Number 2. Sorry.
Huge.
Apologies. There we go. Apologies. We were caught up in this game of Awonder, and he just came on, and he was sacrificing rooks and pieces, and it was crazy. And the queen was trapped, and maybe he was losing. And then he played this crazy move, bishop b8, and he turned the tables, and we were just so focused. I could have sworn you were playing a Queen's Gambit, a Slav exchange Slav. It did look like that.
I did not expect the London at all.
No.
I decided to go for this knight h5 line. I usually used to take on d4 first and then go knight h5.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I think I haven't played this one before, but he somehow was prepared. Yeah, then let's go back a little bit before I played bishop b7. Yeah. So I spent some time here after c takes d4, because I wasn't sure where to put the bishop. So e7 and d6.
Steven is 1.
You didn't know where to put the bishop?
Yeah.
And it's an important decision after all, right?
I decided to go bishop b7, but I ultimately actually was regretting it. I mean, I was a little bit afraid of some quick e4s if I put the bishop on b6.
Right.
So I thought let's just avoid his prep and play it more solid. I mean, probably castle and then e4 maybe. Yes. I don't know.
So bishop
but
e7.
The thing is, my one of my main ideas is to get the knight back from c6 to e7.
Right.
So here I probably spent about half an hour.
How to rearrange my pieces?
Yeah, exactly. Let's imagine instead of a5, if the bishop is on d6, then I have a very nice move knight e7.
Right.
But if I play bishop d6 here, then e4 comes.
Okay, the second a3, bishop d6. So your dream is to play knight e7, kind of looking around, but e4 is the...
e4 comes, and couldn't really find like any good solution here.
Gotcha.
Probably because there is
Probably because there isn't a good solution.
Yeah.
So no bishop d6.
Also, like rook c8 is not a natural move, but it has some issues because there's some g4s. Like kick the
G4?
knight away, and bishop a6, and bishop comes to g3, and it becomes
Feels
really
wrong.
annoying. Yeah.
Yeah, it feels wrong, right?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So I decided to go for this a5 plan, which is, I mean, it's very risky. And knight e2 is a brilliant move. Yeah.
Yeah, because the knight's not great on b3, so he remaneuvers it to the c3 square.
I really need to get b5 in. So queen a8 is two ideas, g5 is one. Yeah.
We came to a position
I was
that
actually very confused why he didn't play queen e2 here, because it looked like the most natural move. Because you
Control
need,
the
you need to
b5
prevent
square.
b5.
right.
Now white has a huge positional threat of playing knight b5, I think.
Yep.
Then I'm really liking counterplays, like can double on the c file, and yeah. So I thought I have like two moves here. One is b5, just strike the pawn. Yeah, bishop b5, bishop takes b5. Wait, what I was calculating?
And rook b8.
Yeah, maybe this works.
This one, I suppose, right?
Yeah, because if white takes with a knight, then I still go rook b8. Yeah.
Like, yes, here, the same, yes?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's actually very confusing.
Looking
yeah, my
at-
calculation was weird.
But you expected
But also
queen
his other
to
moves,
e2?
yeah. Also,
He-
another move that I considered after queen e2 is knight b7.
Knight b7, that's...
Like, if I get the knight
Calm.
to d6, I'll be doing great, I think. But there is
knight
some e4. I don't know if it
e4. Ooh,
e4, d takes e4,
Knight takes e4.
knight c takes e4, I think.
This one.
F takes e4, queen takes e4, queen f7. So yes, there's a double attack, but queen f7. Defend h7, attack f2. So now if white takes on b7, then queen f2 and rook f6. I'm actually the one checkmating.
Oops.
But I wasn't even sure if white doesn't take on b7 and goes for something like queen takes e4, queen f7, rook c7. I couldn't understand what's happening.
Clueless. Okay, none of this happened because he actually made a move knight e2 b5
Yeah,
f3.
here I was very happy because I get my knight to c4.
Right. And yeah, I think we were primarily looking at king f2, rook h1, rook c2, and trying to get something on the h file. But you got your
e4
plays.
was
No,
insane. I think
That's
it's just
that opens-
conceptually just completely wrong. Like
Right.
white should be trying to like shut down the position, maybe f4.
right.
So the one knight goes to f3, the other one to c3.
Exactly.
And also, I actually have a feeling that there should be a rook on c2, not queen.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's just much easier to defend it. Yeah, I mean,
E4.
it just the position opens up. I have to bishops.
You-
I was so confused.
A
I should
very-
be just completely winning here.
Yeah, a very happy surprise indeed. Ooh, what a powerful
Yeah,
queen.
I'm not sure if I found the best solution, but I was kind of happy with it. So the point is, if I take on f4 here,
Right, which is everybody's desire.
yeah, g takes f4, queen takes f4, queen takes e4.
Check.
My d4 pawn is hanging, so king h8,
Uh,
queen takes d4,
not.
bishop b5, and rook h7.
We're not happy. That's not the way we wanted when we went into
Yeah.
this variation. No. So you can't take on f4 after knight.
So yeah, the other alternative is d3.
d3.
but
Okay. So you're.
Queen takes c4,
You're.
yeah, rook b2. So queen takes d3, I think rook takes d2 is winning
Yes.
completely, but the problem is like rook cd1,
Rook cd1.
and it's actually not easy because rook h7 is coming.
How annoying.
It is very
And
annoying.
no rook f4 either.
Yeah, I'm somehow pinned. Like, doesn't look easy at all.
Yeah,
So that's why I chose c3.
I like c3 though.
So the
but-
point is, if white takes, b takes c3, then I go rook takes f4. And now the queen
Now-
does not go to d4.
Yes, exactly. And then no queen takes
Yeah,
c4,
this is
no
game
queen.
over, yeah.
Exactly. Nice. So c3.
Knight c4. I have a feeling that I didn't choose the most practical way here. Like I should have something easier. I mean, I was getting low on time and couldn't find it. Because I thought that like what I went for is completely winning, but it actually like I kind of underestimated white's counterplay a little bit. Because
But it feels like it should be.
yeah,
just
but
game
white
over.
does have some annoying attacking potential.
Really?
Because the knight is coming to f6.
Aha. Knight h5 to
Yeah.
f6, or knight to d5 to f6. I see.
Like at least like I need to like really calculate stuff. Like instead of let's say bishop c6, queen takes e4
Yes.
is a very natural move.
Right.
King h2,
Yes.
bishop c6.
Threatening mate.
I think rook g5.
Oops, sorry.
Rook g5, I think. King h8, knight d5.
Wow.
I don't know.
And he has a perpetual check.
Yeah.
Rook f8, h6, rook f8, rook f7.
No,
No,
at
even
least,
more.
I mean, probably.
No,
just
mate.
checkmate,
Yes, sorry. My goodness, it's just checkmate. Oh,
So, yeah.
jeez.
Yeah, it was very scary. Yeah.
Okay.
So rook h5.
Bishop c6 to avoid that line.
Like I really didn't want to take on e4 with a bishop because like I don't no longer have this mating ideas along this diagonal.
But at the same time, you're just stopping knight t5.
Yeah,
and
but I
that's
do
crucial.
cover a lot of squares, and the bishop is maybe coming to g6 at some point.
Exactly. Rook b5. But now you actually can breathe a little bit because I don't see, and you can see too. Yeah.
There's still some checkmating ideas.
Oh my gosh.
I think queen c7 is a very nice way
To get out of
yeah.
the, and you protect b8, check, no checks. You can take a bishop, but you're queening.
Yeah. So if he goes knight e8 immediately,
Knight e8. So he wants rook f8.
yeah,
He wants your
just
queen.
queen e7, I think. Also, I have a feeling some h6 is winning.
And
Rook b8.
yes.
I just queen. Yeah. Knight f6, king g7, rook g8, king f7. Nice game.
King f7. Sorry.
Also, king h6, I think, is winning.
I thought, yes, you're right. I don't have a perpetual check even in this case of the king h6.
But I was a little bit scared of some stalemate ideas, actually. Maybe in some world, white gives up like everything.
Amazing.
So like I like king f7 instead of king h6 is much smoother.
Amazing. You play king h8, rook
Rook g5,
g5,
bishop
g6, knight e8.
Yeah, queen f7 is like a very direct way because queen e7 is also winning, for example, but then rook e5.
Oh, that's a. Then you take the knight. Rook e5, and again there is this nasty little. But you can take here. Yes. But then he takes on c2.
No, I think I just take on a3
Oh.
because I cover f8 and I have one to promote.
Oh, simple chess.
Yeah,
Oh gosh. Yes.
but I thought queen f7 is just nice. Now there is no checkmate.
Right.
Knight d6, bishop g6. Yeah.
Knight d6, bishop g6.
Yeah, exactly. That was my feeling when I had 2 minutes.
A big
Yeah.
relief.
Yeah.
A big relief.
Yeah.
Gregory, who's your last round? Last two opponents?
I'm playing Temur tomorrow,
Yes.
and in the last round playing Ray.
Ooh, big games ahead of you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming
Yeah,
on the
thank
show.
you.
It was really a pleasure. Crazy game. And
Oh, it was
wow.
a crazy round today with so
What a
many decisive
round.
games. Yeah.
Yeah, and this, please do check it out. The game of Awonder and
Yeah.
Michael, what they played was, Awonder was very praising Michael in the first 20, 30 moves. He thought he just was completely outplayed. And then one move, bishop b8 changed the situation. Good luck.
Thank you.
And we'll see you, we hope, in the remaining rounds. As we get our show wrapped up, we do have some amazing standings to share with you. Andrew Hung, he played a quiet, decent game with the black pieces today. He made a draw, but the chasing pack, Caleb, all won. And boy, I want to say with 2 rounds to go, I mean, the tournament's still, wide open.
Yeah, this was a good round if you like drama, because
do.
now, once again, 3 players in striking distance of Andrew Hong.
Yes.
And Oparin, our last interview, not too far away either.
Exactly.
So something crazy happens.
And in the B group, we saw Irina again. She's having these nice positions out of the opening, but she went down.
Yeah, so it looked like, if anything, Steven was in a little bit of trouble earlier
Big
on.
time.
But now he did actually turn that game around, won his game today, rejoining Andy.
Who also had a bit of
lead.
good fortune.
Yeah, it was a good day to be in the top half of the leaderboard. Everybody seemed to kind of figure it out one way or another.
And Begim, who came on our show, also won a very nice game. I want to say deserved game.
Sure.
Less so for Andy and Steven, but hey, sometimes, however the victories come, they're welcome.
And well, to Andy's credit, he was never worse.
No.
He just needed a little help with that extra half point.
Exactly. So with these results, again, we have a 2-way tie for first. One player, Begim, a half a point out. Ooh.
That's exactly right. It's lots to play for in the last 2 rounds.
Absolutely. Caleb, wrapping up the show, I thought this was a great round full of the kind of chess that we've really come to enjoy from the players. They really go out after each other.
Yeah, this was something. I mean, we started off Open Roy, trading some pieces, Shoko piano,
Right.
and then we ended up here. I don't know how it happens, but lots of fun today. Make sure you don't go anywhere. Tomorrow we'll be back for all of the fun. Same time as today, 4:00 p.m. Our show will start. As always, you can follow the games for yourself at uschesschamps.com starting at 1:30 p.m. and we'll see you there.
Thank you for hanging out with us. Tell your friends where you are hanging out. We'll see you all tomorrow. Caleb, again, it was a great day. Really enjoyed the broadcast, and thanks to the players and for sharing their thoughts. Good night, everyone.
This has been a presentation of the St. Louis Chess Club. Any reproduction or distribution of this content without the express written consent of the St. Louis Chess Club is prohibited.